Hello everybody, we are back with the Comic-Con Baltics offline qualifier. Day number 2 looms with us, and we still have 8 spots to give away for the LAN event that will be coming in 3 weeks' time. It will be me starting off today, and alongside me, of course, my fellow compatriot from the Baltic nation, it is SRK. How are we doing today?
Well, Labadiena Teresveiki, yeah, it's doing pretty good, especially from yesterday. Kind of be love to see some pretty big names already qualified for the main events. Bit of a shame we don't see any Baltic players yet, but hopefully from today we are going to see at least one going through at least.
Yeah, well, our best shot is half a Latvian, which is Dvinjo, so our hopes are on him in most cases. Hopefully we can get some surprises as well. My biggest eye is on Hreitis. I think he has probably the second best chances of getting through all this, so we can look towards that. But while we are actually looking towards the past as well, maybe we can get yesterday's results up and running as well to see who have already gotten through. Yesterday we finished the upper bracket, and it is on your screens as well. Not many surprises, I would say. A lot of expected results. The only one maybe was the Dvinjo versus Speed Self, which could have gone either way. And Tarpor keeping a very good fight, but overall I think we expected results.
Yeah, so but pretty still sick to see some pretty big names, especially compared to last year. But we had, I thought that last year we already had like pretty stacked lineup of players, but this time with the more increased slots, I thought this will be a bit shaky with the top 32. I think the lower end might be a bit on the lower side of skill level. But still, with some of these names, I'm honestly quite looking forward to meeting them in person as well in Lithuania. Since me and Creedy are also going to be going there as well with Turbo and Geek, who are also going to be the 2 other casters as well for the events. But yeah, it's going to be pretty fun to see how everything will look out for. Of course, today now we have 8 more slots left. So we have the 16 known, we have the 8 pre-qualified and pre-invited as well. We had to remind a bit, we had Massa and the Grenadi. The big guys are already parts of the main events together with Twin, who at the time was #1 in the standings for the Trackmania World Tour ranking system, and the last year's winner Elcon was already pre-invited to the event, so that they don't have to play this specific qualifier. Additionally, with the 4 players from the latest Baltic Trackmania League, which were Auris, Ziren, Bits, and Kuzi. Actually, Creedy is supposed to be also in the bunch of 4P players, but he will be joining the casting booth instead.
Hey, if it all comes to worse, if one of the Lithuanians and Latvians get sick, I'll play and cast at the same time. Hopefully I don't get the same match, but but regardless of that, we can take a look at today's matchups as well. What we have actually in store for us as well. Because there have been already some news as well. Of course, this is the first round of the lowers, or lower 4 if we want to be pedantic about it. This is where the top 2 will go towards the actual qualifying matches to go towards the 8 spots. So a lot of these matches may seem a bit more simpler in mind as well. We already see some people dropping out, as you can see on screen. Hulim is not able to participate. It's also normal.user, and I believe also Neoderzial was not also able to get it to the personal reasons today. So, you know, people have tried to make time, but, you know, people have places to be and things to do. But that we will also be looking at match number 2 as well. But so it is basically a warm-up. You know, we get things started, get the ball rolling together with USRK, and then we'll hand the baton over to Geek and Turbo, who will be after this to get the final 8 sorted for us.
Yeah, so today the way how it works is going to be basically like a single elimination bracket, just like the monthly events. So all the players from today are the ones who have taken at least 1 L during yesterday. So that's the way how the bracket was formed, with a bit of additions with the seeding, how it worked out. So we have all of the players who did not manage to get a top 2 in at least 1 match now playing today. Of course, in the first round, it's going to be very similar as it was last year. Yesterday, when the first round is going to be a bit, how can I say, a bit on the one-sided side. But definitely one of the main things that the players will need to look out for is seeding, since this is single limb from this point on. Especially for the qualification matches, getting that win in the round 1 is going to be really important to guarantee that possibility of an easier match for the qualification match due to the single elimination aspect as well.
Actually, very much correct. It is something that it might be very simple matches to start off, but at least you want to make sure that it is as simple as possible, because a lot of these players, I feel like, still have a possibility to get something done in the upper bracket. Well, not upper bracket, the final lower bracket matches for the day as well, to maybe secure a spot. So it is not all done and dusted for everybody else. Maybe somebody just had maybe a worse day as well, and we will see how things go. On your screen already, like Vanity, for example, he still is one of the players. When we look at Lava's just recently fresh out the oven times after day one, Vanity is up there to be in the top 8 based on his PBs in matches, or the fastest time. So, you know, possibilities are there, so nobody can really be truly written out, especially the people who qualify for the final final matches of today.
Thing to mention that basically anyone who played throughout this event will be rewarded with Trackmania World Tour points as well for the ranking. As we saw that, let's just say for the Grand and Challenger events, if you do place a bit on the lower side, you don't get that many points. So this is one of the events where it's quite relatively easy to get some decent points for the events and for the event circuit as well. Okay, as now we're going to be going with the pick and ban phase. So the way how this works, the top seeded player from all of these will be, or the person who got the deepest run in the bracket yesterday, will be doing the pick first. Then it's going to go to second seed, third seed, and the rest of the maps will be picked in a randomized order. So all of these 5 maps are relatively with a similar idea as it was with monthly events map packs, but these maps are way more difficult in difficulty. That's one of the reasons why we haven't seen, I would say, the quantity of players compared to some other events, mainly because, however, I feel like from most of the top players, people have been enjoying the map pack due to the added difficulty, but at the same time, it has a bit made it more difficult for the entry or mid-level players to get some stuff rolling.
Yep, that is something as well. We'll see at the moment. There was a case at the moment where Vanity had a bit of struggle with the pick and ban to start off. So we'll see if we get a quick restart on that as well. At least looking what the discussions in the in-game chat. But it seems if Vanity is okay with Venue being first picked, then we will continue with this map back order, which is Venue, Wild Child. Venue, Wild Child. Let me quickly. Melohi, Baltic Flick, and Musha to end us off. So, and Vanity is actually confirmed that Venue is fine. So let's have some fun. Hopefully we'll have a good race still. Quantum will have a lot of work to do to get something done, but you know, at least he's participating, taking, you know, that's something that always people say. I've heard a lot of people say, like, why is the point even been playing when I'm going up against the likes of, like, I don't know, Binks and all of these great people as well. But that's how you get better. You have to play the best to be the best, and if you don't get the practice in, well, it's never gonna happen. So hope, at least, you know, props to Quantum, will give it a good shot, and hopefully he can do something. Maybe 1 round win or 2 would be already nice for him, I think.
Yeah, also during the match, we're gonna be updating on the status of other matches to see what's happening. As these matches are basically, as mentioned, in a single limb form, we're gonna see the first eliminations happening today. Additionally, with some of the progress of some other matches. Today we're gonna be playing with 3 rounds, so this is gonna be the round 1 of the day. So you can see it as a quarter final in some sense. But in reality, there's a lot of matches happening today as well at the same time.
Yep, that is something we have to do. Of course, you can see on the screen, if those who are just joining us as well, QLim should be in the match, but he did mention already that he is not able to play today, so unfortunate for that. So Quantum has to hold the weight of Baltic Nation and the weight of Kulim not being here as well at the same time, so we'll see how things will go. But it will be a nice, you know, it's sort of a warm-up as well. We get to see what Sven and Vanity, I think these two players are the ones that should be able to get a good run in to get towards top 8, so we can already see somewhat the mentality they are going towards. Usually, of course, they can treat this as a nice warm-up, to be honest. They don't really have to push for much, but as you said, that first place can be a difference. So we might see maybe a bit more pushing just to secure that first spot than you would, for example, in round 1, where it really didn't matter much if it got first and second, but it's always nice to win, I think. No matter where you play, it's just a nice confidence boost going into the next matches, and hopefully Vanity and Sven don't take it too lightly. But they have to start on venue, so but map by Karluki. We'll see how things will go, and the round is about to start, so let's take it away.
Yeah, so for actually one thing to mention, so many new times were set during yesterday. I checked at Trackmania.io, and basically every player had set a PB during during yesterday. But yeah, let's go. Our first round of the day. We have Vanity, Sven, and Quantum in the first elimination match of the day. Top 2 advance to the next round. Top seed gets a way easier match for the upcoming pre-qualification match. So getting the first place here is going to be quite important, as Vanity probably is looking as the favorite in the match, having a decent pace on some of the maps, but Sven maybe also can do some damage, and Quantum trying to get a ticket to his to the events as well. Vanity is so probably getting a better speed. Sven really tries to push it with the inside line, catches up a bit. Usually on these maps, it's as soon as you have a small correction, you immediately lose like a 0.3. But the gap was formed. Vanity did lose approximately 0.3, but it was still enough to salvage the top side. Oi, 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 Quantum, no shots.
As a bit stuck and
yeah,
remains
a small
stuck.
incident happened there, yeah.
Unfortunate for him as well. But I mean, I will say the one thing I noticed about this track as well, like of course the first 10 seconds of the track is very important for this segment as well, but it is, when I look at this track, it is a very different map to what I usually envision Karluki map as well. It becomes very speedy and a lot more fast-paced than normally his maps are. So it is a bit off the standard when you look at your usual Karluki maps, and Vanity having a bit of a nose slide to start off there. But overall, it's a nice map. It doesn't offer too much difficulty, but it has just enough that you can push for these minor differences that can gain you a 10th there or a 10th or 2 here, and that can of course very much snowball in a very fast-paced track. But at the moment, Sven should be able to get a nice victory on the board unless he pushes too much in the end, but it seems that that should be perfectly fine. A very similar time to what Vanity drove in the first round, and Quantum this time does not have a finish incident, so should be perfectly fine.
Yep, at least Quantum finally gets match. Will become quite advantage for the rest of the bracket as we go with a single limb today. So getting that first, while 2 players do advance here, the first place is going to be quite important when it comes down to the later parts of the rounds. It's like Vanity once again, a bit of an unfortunate mistake with a no slide following afterwards. Even Quantum gets the pass. Sven trying to now play a bit on the safe sides, just trying to maintain his position. Actually, in that turn where Sven just played, it's relatively difficult actually to extend the drift there if you don't have a very good entry setup. Currently relatively large gaps, approximately 1 second, and hello.
Sven hits the side. It's happening.
Sven hits the side. Vanity also with the mishap from the early on, and Quantum now is in the lead. So this might be an interesting turn of events, as these maps are not that easy, so it can force out mistakes quite easily. And with that, Quantum actually scores the 10-pointer with that, as the both expected 1 and 2 players are, well, were currently beaten by the underdog.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was saying Quantum can be happy if he gets 1 or 2 wins. 1 is already on the board. I think it's more than he ever expected. So, you know, you take it, you put it on your refrigerator wall. He will be happy with that for the rest of his life. And I do like in the previous chat as well with Kulim, he mentioned as well, and he said that you were supposed to make me look not garbage. So, so he was really relying on at least the Latvian being on the server to make him at least somewhat look good. But hey, he's doing it well. You know, he's trying to do his best. And honestly, this is something that we've seen throughout the tournament. These little mistakes, sometimes if you can just get a clean run in, can make the difference. But of course, you cannot really rely on that. It's the pace is what you really want, and you just cannot hope that everybody makes a mistake every single round. A case in point, well, I was about to say that Sven and Vanity are having a clean run, but Vanity just clips that little light show there on the side, and Sven gets the first position, and Quantum gets second. So getting more points and allowing Sven to take the lead with Vanity in second, and Quantum not that far behind, actually.
One thing I have noticed with Quantum's playstyle, he's just playing really, really safe. Remember when I was younger, like when I was starting with Trackmania competitions, I always had the approach that I'll try to just play safe and wait for others to crash. And that was a match mentality for a very, very good while. So I feel like that's the same approach I currently see from Quantum as well. And honestly, it's working off here and there. As mentioned, these maps are really hard compared to other maps currently in the World Tour set. I believe only Gamers Assembly, which was the very first event that was homologated within the World Tour circuit, that had such difficulty of maps. So especially compared to the monthly maps provided by Nadio, these ones are definitely way more up in the difficulty, but we'll have to see how will it be possible for Quantum to continue his consistency run and try to play on the mistakes of the other players here.
Yeah, I think it is one of those cases where with the monthly cup tracks, they are definitely longer in that regard as well. Like I will say that much, that Halfwood compared to Wild Child, you know, that's a different story. Halfwood can be quite the difficulty spike as well. And if we take a comparison between two wood maps, but it only speaks for Halfwood because a lot of those maps are simply like 10 to 15 seconds longer on average as well. These tracks are definitely, what I say is the sweet spot of competitive tracks. 50 to 55 seconds, that is the sweet spot in my opinion. Just long enough that you can have close racing and still short enough that you don't go for an entire endurance competition. But for the time being, we can see that Quantum is having his fun time there. Vanity is having a fun time in the wall and no sliding, and Quantum is slowly catching up to him as well. As I say that, he does hit the wall, so Sven is enjoying a bit of low time. For those, of course, joining us right now as well, you gotta keep in mind that the fact that these are, I guess you could say, a warm-up for today as well. A lot of these tracks have a lot of mismatching in skill as well, but in regards to the map pack itself, I mean, we should be going through this relatively good in 120. That will be for next round, so we will go through these a bit quicker, and we'll see if there's any drama to be seen. Maybe some other matches can provide some excitement, but for now, Sven is on 40 points and Vanity 32 with Quantum on 20.
Yeah, Quantum did not get the finish, and I feel like the wood physics are throwing him off a bit. Like all the time, he's like struggles to contain himself on the wood surface. On the rest of the surface is fine. Sven getting a small bounce there from the right side, jumps directly into the hole and gets flinged the outside. Allows now Quantum for the overtake now. Vanity as well had a misclip as well during the warm-up, so we'll see maybe if that's the same case happens here. Sven is a bit out. Quantum gets a clip himself, so on wood surface his acceleration is lowered quite a bit, so Sven now has a lot of momentum now to carry up on, but this big overturn is the big equalizer in terms of pace. Sven has a way better approach, has now finally caught up to Quantum now, gets the overtake there as well. And even with the better line as well, the boat Vanity gets the finish already. And looks like that Sven will get the overtake and Quantum misses the finish.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where you do have to use the wood to get the lineup for the finish. So if you are slightly off, it's gonna be very late to correct it in the end as well. Of course, you have multiple safe finishes there in the end. There's one in the hole, there's one down on the ground, but the last thing you think of is going for the safe finish on the track. That circle, that finish ring looks so tempting and so inviting to just jump into. with no care whatsoever. So we'll see how things will go for now. But I will say this much, that currently Vanity and Sven, as much as Vanity was on paper at least has better times, at least Sven has been somewhat more consistent. But that is something that I noted yesterday as well. Like, some players just need that, get into the flow of things before they can actually, start playing. For example, Vanity, I think, is one of those players as well. Tvinho is definitely that somebody will have to look out as well. Definitely relies on momentum. Hopefully he will be able to do well as well. And Vanity getting first here, Sven second, and Quantum third. We're already halfway through the first match, technically 52, 52, and 24. It's very equal on the standings as well.
Yeah, I checked up some other servers in the meanwhile, and some matches already are almost about to wrap up. As I mentioned, that this first round is very similar as it was with yesterday's round one, where we see basically the top seeds playing against the bottom seeds. So most of the matches are relatively one-sided.
Yep, one-sided it is. So that's why it was very difficult to choose a match as well. There was some cases where I was looking at match number 3. That looked to be quite interesting as well, but Neo Terziel, also one of the players that I mentioned earlier, was not able to play today, also due to personal reasons. So some of the players have not been able to either get on time or have had other plans that have come in the way as well. So it is something that, of course, is unfortunate, but that's the name of the game, and it is at the end where almost Sven comes in to snipe Vanity. Very close race in that round, at least. All things considered. So and Quantum gets a finish as well, at least gets points on the board. So we'll see. It's the next round that really matters, and I think there will be a lot of brawls and a lot of matchups that can truly provide some great racing. Here for now, it's one of those cases we get into the vibe of things, get things sorted. Maybe you forgot to get a snack or two, maybe drink. You can right now go and grab it. We mellow into it slowly.
Yeah, so let's see how this will end up. This has been the hardest map, in my opinion, of the map pack, especially with there's like the big main point, in my opinion, of this map is getting the gear at the start, and then like the ramp jump has been the biggest hurdle for most players here. And then main thing is just trying to avoid the clips because of some of the tighter approaches that's needed here. And that's kind of when things... Also, Greedy, do you really think that this map pack is easier than the April sets? Really? How come?
Yes,
okay, I want to hear your arguments.
So. The thing is that they are shorter, and the fact is that it is just that already the fact that they are just so much more longer. You can already take a quick comparison between, like I already said, like Wild Child compared to Halfwood. It's like night and day, in my opinion. It's one of those cases. So it's already the length gives it a lot more difficulty, and the fact that it's just a lot more mechanics that have to be used. There's not a single SD you have to do on these tracks, for example, with Cadence. I believe that the monthly cup tracks have a lot more mechanics. These are a lot more slower paced, but when you look at Venue, Karluki's map, to be honest, only the 10 seconds are difficult. The rest is just speed tech, to be honest, with a little bit of dirt in between. So I do have to agree what Epo said in chat as well. It's just that when you look at the base score of it, the monthly cup tracks do have a lot more mechanics. These are just more manageable in difficulty compared to those, because you can learn a lot easier shorter tracks than you can learn with tracks with a lot more length and a lot more mechanics.
Well, I would say definitely this map is for sure harder than all of the monthly cup maps, in my opinion. Like,
it's a complicated Crash Cup of the Day. Let's be real here.
Nah, I don't see this map like this getting cup of the day. That's nah. Like this one is way too hard, especially with some of the parts. Like imagine, like I feel like Div 12 even would not be able to, manage to go through properly. I feel like it.
I mean, Quantum should be. Quantum is a Div 2 to Div 12 player. He's getting through them. I don't know what division Quantum usually plays Cup of the Day, or if he actually plays, but so but no hard feelings, Quantum, in that regard. But I will say, like, if I had to keep in mind. It's I guess it's matter of preference as well. What people say. I will say it probably will have varying opinions in that regard. I do regard the monthly cup tracks more complicated, but they are going to be played a lot more as well because the next event will have the same map pack. So. And the same goes technically for the offline finals as well. For the Comic-Con Baltics, it will be the same map, so we will see a lot more higher pace playing, a lot more consistency, a lot more practice done. So with Sven having a bit of a clip there, still surviving somehow, and getting through, well, not surviving anymore, but Nico getting first and Sven second. We'll see. I think it's still a good map pack. I think I prefer it more compared to the previous Comic-Con Baltics map pack, the last year's. So it is better in my eyes, definitely better.
Well, in the meanwhile, we have a pretty close 1v1 going on. There was an unfortunate mistake from Sven, but honestly, both of these guys really fighting for that top seed in this match. As mentioned, it's gonna make the next upcoming matches way easier. So it's like a very harsh snowball starts based on either you get first or second in these matches. So Sven and Vanity, both of them, really trying to using the opportunity. Went for a snowball like what's the words in practice. No, well, literally turned into a snowball there, but yeah, anyway, basically, yeah, getting the first place in this match is gonna make rest of the qualification bracket way easier. So getting first place in this first match, while it's in theory not as hard to, let's just say, not get eliminated, it's harder to, it can really impact rest of the brackets for today. So getting the first place here is definitely gonna be quite important, especially if Vanity continues his consistency and just tries to wait on swings and Quantum's mistakes. They're slowly now closing in on the last few points before entering finals.
Yeah, at the moment as it is going, most likely we will be closing out. Well, at least we should be closing out the track on Baltic Flick, at least as Quantum has to respawn before the quarter pipe, so he has to go again. So I believe we will get Baltic Flick will be the track where we will decide who will be first, who will be second, but it can make a world of difference for Sven if he can get the first place here right now. He is currently in the lead, and it is actually neck and neck between the two. A much better entry for Sven, who will have much more speed going into this platform section. He can go for a lot lower jump with that speed as well, but Vanity gets a lot more inside, and that is the difference right there. But he gets a bit of a clip, or I don't know, a bit of an unfortunate touch of the wall just before the end, and has to go for another respawn, giving those 10 points away to Sven, who is one round away. Similarly to Vanity from finalists, we could have a double finalist in the next round, but that will be, of course, on the Baltic Flick.
And also it depends on the scenario which happens. Currently, there's just one scenario where that can be the case. But we'll have to see what happens in actual practice. Maybe Quantum can pull a small upset here, at least in the rounds, and change some things up a bit as well with that.
Definitely looking for, well, it is very possible because, for example, Sven needs first position to get finalist mode, and if Vanity maybe, you know, has a bit of a bad round and Quantum gets second instead, he won't be finalist, but Sven would be. So there's a little bit Quantum can do. He might have a 28 point, but he has still something to play for, and that is to just be a bit of a nuisance. So that's where you can, that's the only thing he can be at the moment. Be a bit of a devil in disguise, and maybe make Vanity's and Sven's life a bit more difficult in the fact that they have to do one extra round, perhaps. But that's all to see for. Of course, Baltic Flick by Vixa. It is... I will say it is one of my favorite maps if I had to choose one. It is definitely a satisfying track to drive if you hit the lines right, and it feels very satisfying to hit those flicks as well.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, we already have like first few qualifications for the next round known. Not pre-qualifications yet for the offline stage, but who make it through. So we already have Tarpor and Vigno making it throughout, so some of the matches are already slowly starting to wrap up as well. I mean, this one as well is on its endgame. Potentially, we might see 2 or 3 more rounds left, depending on how it goes. Right now, Vanity can potentially, if Vanity just gets first in this round, then he will deny finalist opportunity from Sven. I'll give that one additional rounds for himself. But maybe if Sven gets the upset, then immediately we'll put double finalists, and that first place from this match can really impact and snowball the rest of the bracket for today.
Yeah, it is
Vanity
very
currently
possible, but a bit shaky still. Sven is not far behind though. If that flick goes wrong in the end for Vanity, that's an easy snipe for Sven though. Can he actually hold it on his own? What did I say? What did I say? Vanity's flick was not good enough, and even Quantum overtakes, so he denies Vanity's finalist mode. So it is Sven who goes first. So it exactly what the script said. Quantum denying somebody's finalist mode.
well, that's happened, and now Vanity needs to deny Sven that with the top seed at least so far. I mean, in previous round, he had a pretty solid round, as Sven is definitely way more on the safer playstyle. So in terms of pace, he definitely has the advantage here, but the lack of consistency is giving away some rounds to Sven here. Currently, Vanity once again, light lead, but not as big as it was last time. Sven actually gets a way better line here for the setup. Takes it very safe, light recorrection, but both players are with equal speeds as we enter on that part. Sven slides out, extended his ice turn, and Vanity looks like on a good opportunity to deny the finalist status and enter finalist himself finally.
Yep, and even with no grip, you can still slide out. Sven has officially confirmed that as well. So
was that actually a slide out?
It looked to me. I think it looked like, unless I think he just over rotated there. To be honest, that's what he mostly did. I think it was just an over rotate, and the car got just stuck basically, and he just went straight. And to me, but it is between Sven and Vanity to now secure whether it is finalist mode or not. Well, not finalist mode. Who gets first and who gets second in this case? Because unless Quantum now goes on a 6-round streak to go into finalist mode and then win it as well, I think this will be where the rounds will be secured as well. So yeah, and with Whoop providing some nerd comment, he slid out on the dirt after the reset. So technically, yeah, it is. There is a reset block. That is correct by Whoop in chat as well. So it is no grip, but as you can see, there is a reset block right here, and there you can slide out. But Vanity gets a nice flick there, so he has the lead. But we saw that in the previous occasions as well, and Vanity was ahead, and that was the final flick that decided his fate. He doesn't have that much speed, but he has a much better entry towards the end, as Sven has to release quite a bit. Vanity, surely you just take it safe. You don't.
What was
Sven
that?
is the one to get first position. Congratulations. Well done to you. And to insult to injury, Quantum also gets second position because Vanity cannot finish his meals.
Well, that was one kind of ending I did not expect. I mean, honestly, Sven looked very, like, nervous in that one turn. So I thought, okay, yeah, he lost it there. But then, yeah, small pole incident. But with that, Sven is through as the top seed here. And now the guy literally just needs to finish the map, basically.
Yep. I mean, Quantum, hey, at least props to Quantum. He made it at least somewhat, entertaining. He got one round win, checked. He ruined some chances for finalists, check. And he was on, the FastPoint channel on the stream as well. It has all the tick marks you want. You have a great day ahead of you, Quantum, as well. But as long as, unless Vanity now has another mesmerizing mistake in the end where he gets stuck in a respawn loop or somehow, there's just no way in hell he does it a third time. At least he should be at least somewhat competent enough to know that, you know what, I don't even need to risk this end. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Should have done it the previous round.
At least his team makes sense, because Vanity is playing for the team Wall Inspectors, so he definitely inspected that pole at that specific moment. That's probably they do in that specific team. But yeah, with that, we have Sven going through from this match as first seed. We have Vanity going as second, and with that, 0-7 to Quantum, and Quantum will be eliminated from the event will not be making it to the Comic-Con Baltics offline events. Vanity and Sven also still have to fight a bit for their positions. In the meanwhile, there's some other matches going on. Tarpor has made it through, and there's a match between Kadbagasm and Name Unknown, where Name Unknown currently is in finalist, but Kadbagasm is at 80 points. So there's a match like that going on currently as well still. Then there is another match still going on. It is Nixobi and Enzo and Soba, and both Nixobi and Enzo both have moved on, eliminating Soba from the event, just as I checked in that with that match.
That is true.
And there's one more match left still going on as well.
Same house and Wintersprung, I believe.
Yeah, it's actually on double finalists now. Maybe we can production join in for that specific match right now. Would be maybe nice.
Yeah, yes. We have the venue right now, and it is the final round, and we are getting to the final turns here as well. But it seems that Same House is right about to close it out as well. So well done to him. So he gets through here as well. So well done to the Canadian Wintersprung, you know, finalist mode. Honestly, I didn't expect that he would be, or they would be able to get that close to Same House, but you know, expected results still from this server. I don't know how well Gatbagasm is doing on their part. We'll have to see how
when
long
I checked
can
in,
they deny.
he was winning in the rounds, but we'll have to see how things will go.
It's still ongoing, and we might have a double finalist mode there as well in a moment, actually. So we might actually get one more opportunity. Yeah, server 8 might be our opportunity here. So Gatbagasm, she is doing rather well for herself. So all going according to plan, and it is double finalist on. I don't know if it will be the final round on Musha, or we will have a map switch.
We'll see. We'll see
in a moment.
Yeah, but I haven't really heard the Name Unknown as a player. I have heard of Kadbagasm personally, but okay, we have Sweden versus Norway 1v1. The loser gets fully eliminated, so we'll see how this will go. Go map by Rockets. I would say one of the more precise maps from the map pack so far. Both players get relatively equal with the starts. Let's go on Wet Plastic, who will oversteer. Kadbagasm gets a tiny bit more speed for the upcoming part. Gets a light bump, over drifts on that one turn. Allows the Swede to go through the map with way more momentum, as Kadbagasm did drop the gear. Name Unknown goes a bit wider to prevent the light slide down.
Both hit it!
Both!
Kadbagasm is alive still! Oh my god!
No shots.
No way, but Kadbagasm was able to recover so much better from that hit. Name Unknown got stuck in reverse, and with that, one hell of a bonk in the end. Kadbagasm comes from behind, gets the victory, and moves on to the next round. What a way to end it.
Yeah, looked like that big, a bit too over rotation on that bump was literally the decider for that round, honestly, because both of them were relatively equal, and well, sometimes some of the most bizarre stuff does happen like that. But yeah, due to that, we have Name Unknown being eliminated from the brackets, and looks like we will have a bit of a caster switch relatively soon. So probably it's gonna be it from me today, but we'll still have 2 more rounds left. There's gonna be 1 more round, and then we'll have the final qualification match. So all of the matches today are single elim. So whoever gets the bottom 2 gets eliminated. Who gets 3rd and 4th place in their matches get out eliminated from the tournament. Top 2 advance. So 1 more rounds, and we have seen pretty decent players moving on. So we'll see some good players getting eliminated from the next rounds and will not make it to the offline stage. So hopefully nothing too crazy happens. I really hope we still get to see at least 1 Baltic player making through the qualification match, not making through the next round, but we'll see with how well that will go.
Well, I have it noted down here, definitely. So, I mean, there is some names. Of course, we expect our half Latvian Trinio to go through. I am keeping an eye on Kratis. the creators could do some things, but there are some names, of course, you would think that like the likes of Nixobi, Vanity was looking pretty good, Sven as well, Mareintje and stuff like that. So we'll see how things will go. But in the meantime, of course, that will be it for us today, at least for me and SRK.
The matches will still go on.
Yeah, the match for us from our end, it's done. But for the matches, there is still one round to go, as SRK said, that defines who will actually qualify. And hopefully, hopefully all of you in chat will be at the offline event as well. If not, hopefully you will be watching the offline event, no matter how you're gonna watch it. Because hey, if you're coming to the event, I will be using that book right over there to get as many autographs as possible from every player as possible. So I will be stalking you all. So keep an eye on me from the corner of your eye. I'm just kidding. I will come and politely ask. So, but well done to everybody who has qualified so far, and hopefully we'll have some great rounds to watch from us. So without further ado, we'll have one more break, and then the final matches will begin. So we'll see you right after this break. Hello, everybody. We are back on your screen. Surprise! I'm here. I am currently on your screens as well. Turbo will be joining us for later. He was not able to make it quite on time right now with some in real life stuff. But he will be with us later. So it will be me alongside Geek to take the first two matches or the first two of the set to get to finally figure out who will be the last 8 or the first few to get their tickets to Vilnius.
Yeah, exactly. So don't worry. I guess you're kind of. I hate to be kind of that guy, but you're keeping the seat nice and warm for Turbo. Let's say that in a way. But in a sense, you also get an extra match to cast. So I guess that's a bonus. It's a win-win situation in that sense. But yeah, hello guys, and yeah. Excited to be back in for essentially the final stretch of this open qualifier for the Comic-Con Baltics 2024 Trackmania tournament. We've been already siphoning through all of the matches throughout the lower bracket, throughout the upper bracket, with of course the upper bracket qualifying matches, which I've casted alongside the man on the right hand side of your screen. And now we're going to be heading into the final part of the bracket. Let's just take a little bit of a look at it from a bit of a different perspective. So here are your 4 matches that we have: Gretis, Dvinio, Sven, and Catbagasm, which is going to be our highlighted match here on the main stream. Then we also have match 2, which is going to be Johan Klan, Nixobi, Cervantes, and Kresmas. On match 3, Henkan, Rotrex, Enzo, and Maraintje, with Kojo, Vanity, Zeemuis, and Tarpor in match number 4. And of course, we're going to be focusing on match 1 for now. The phases are going to be working like this. Matches 1 and 4 are going to be part of phase 1, so that means Tarpor's match is going to be coming up very, very shortly. And then after that, it will be the last remaining matches 2 and 3 to determine who will be the last 8 remaining members of the exclusive club of Vilnius Enjoyers.
Yeah, that is to be seen as well. Of course, we already see that mostly all of the players that should have been contending for these spots are through as well. We saw some hectic final few rounds from the previous ones. What a way to end the lower bracket. That final round between Cat Bagasam and Name Unknown, who's in chat as well. Well done. At least thank you for the entertainment. Good effort, but unfortunately Norway is better than Sweden, so better luck next time, Name Unknown.
Mr. Arrow decided the fate of either of you, and one of us got off a little bit more likely than the other, let's say that. But I gotta say, even though you weren't seeing me in the previous set of matches, I was still kind of reacting at the matches because I am indeed pushing the buttons behind the stream. And yeah, the final few rounds of the Sven versus Vanity match, I'm like... there were a few instances where I couldn't help but laugh. As I said, you couldn't hear it, but they could hear me because I forgot to mute myself in the production booth. But yeah, it was a big chuckle that I had, and I kind of feel bad for having that chuckle, to be completely honest with you. But everything's basically settled down now. We're just gonna get right back into it because, as you can see in the game, we have everybody that's already settled in and primed and ready for combat, so to speak. We do have Dvinio in there for Molotov. We also do have Sven, Catbagasm, and Gretis. Now, here we go then for the final few... The conclusion of these open qualifiers. And Dvinio, I think this is the first time we spectated him, right?
I believe we had. I believe we saw. Yesterday, I believe there was moments where we saw Dvinio and Speedself, the one we won yesterday,
fair play,
where we had moments, last few moments, where we came to that match later on.
And I think Dvinio already qualified at that point.
Yeah, so it was Speedself versus Dvinio, 1v1 for that second position, but Dvinio wasn't able to quite clutch it, and Speedself was the one to take that position away. So Dvinio is looking to redeem himself. He is technically on paper the best player out of all of these that are left. So he should be able to secure, if not first, minimum second from this match, because I believe he should be able to get it comfortably, but we'll see. And for this case, as Epos asks as well, it is the top 2 that matter. So the first and second position matters because we have 8 spots to give. And of course, there's 4 matches. You do the math, 4 times 2 is 8. There you go. We have preschool math has been completed. We do know what we're doing in this group.
Yeah, remember second grade or first grade math refresher. There we go. That's all been settled and done. Although sometimes some of us may need a bit of a refresher more than others, and maybe one of those is certain people sometimes. But yeah, sometimes quick math don't work, and you've experienced it more than once, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, looking forward to see how these final matches will go down as the pick and bans have started here And straight away, Dvinho locking in the Musha pick to kick us off with arguably a difficulty high right from the outset before heading off to Wildchild to taper it off a little bit as picked by Sven. Now we're going to be waiting on the two other picks coming in from Catbagasm and Greatis, respectively. Moving on to map number 3 out of 5. We're just missing either Melohi, the Baltic Flick, or Venue as map number 3. Will be Melohi as picked by Greatis for map number 3. Okay, so we're going to be heading on Whiskey's map for the middle part of the rotation. Now, Venue or Baltic Flick. Which one will be the decider? Suspense. Drum roll, please. Drum roll has ended. Venue will be map number 4, and thus it will be the Baltic Flick, which will be used at the end of the rotation.
That will be the case as well, and I already saw some discussion points in chat as well. Dvinho was clearly clueless of the pick and ban because his chat was hidden, but he was ready anyway. So, you know, White arrives and done as well, and it will be good stuff as well. I'm looking forward to this. My main contention is Dvinho should be going through. My question is, how well can Greatis do? Because on paper, he actually is in the top 8. If you are interested, Lava TM on Twitter provided us an update of the times after day 1, and Greatis was in the top 8 of the remaining players. So I'm very curious to see if he can pull that off in rounds as well, or maybe were those only just one-off rounds that he got some good times in. So Sven and Greatis, that is the battle that I'm looking forward. And Gatpagaza, I know she's in chat, I know she's listening. As much as I would love for you to do well, I think, you know, best of luck is all I will say.
Yeah, I think we can say that, and it's nice that you actually point out the battle that's going to be potentially brewing between Sven and Greatis, because as you mentioned on Lava's spreadsheet, the gap over the course of the entirety of the map pack, 5 maps, remember, it's only a matter of 0.2 of a second combined when it comes to personal best. So yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting to see in whichever direction it goes. Theoretically, slight advantage to Sven in terms of PB, but it's not really the PB that counts at this stage. It's all about stringing those rounds together, especially since it's no longer 100 but 120 points. So maybe a little bit more stamina that's being involved instead of the full-on sprints that we've witnessed through the major part of the upper bracket, and of course the lower bracket matches that we've seen a little bit earlier on today, as we're getting started with round number 1 here on Musha by Rocket. And we see already Dvinho trying to sprint a little bit ahead at the end of the first sector, making a gap of around 2.5 of a second, and we see Greatis already locking horns with Sven at the moment, going through the platform before heading into the drift with a little bit of a correction tap from Greatis. Right now, again, going side by side with Sven. So yeah, this is going to be a spicy battle to witness between these two. In the meantime, Dvinho is just completely checking out up front, already 0.6 ahead of the nearest competitor in the entry into the final sector right now. And the man from Molotov is just going to continue pressing on and managing that advantage. In the meantime, entry to the third sector was maybe where the difference is getting made, and it is indeed where the difference gets made to Greatis, as he lost a lot of time compared to Sven. The German player from B2 Esports will guarantee that second place. In the meantime, Dvinho, 55.422, a mere 0.7 ahead. I say mere 0.7. That's a little bit reductor, isn't it? But still, quite the display from Dvinho, already asserting dominance and taking the first 10-pointer for himself.
Yeah, and for those who are interested as well, throughout the entire graphics, you do see that Dvinho is represented with a UK flag. Technically, he does live in UK, does have a UK citizenship, but he also has a Latvian citizenship. And you can clearly see the flag showing Latvian. That's where his true allegiance lie. UK is in the mud. Latvia is the one that truly matters in his heart. So that is where Kuzi is gonna, in chat, is also Latvian, will be SRK will be rooting for Dvinho as a Latvian, not a man from the UK. But we'll see. Dvinho at least off to a good start. And I said yesterday this as well, Dvinho is one of those players that wants to have a good start because he rolls well from, you know, the flow of the game. And we see that Greatis is the one taking the lead, and Dvinho might have to look for that flow in that next round because he is currently stuck in second position, but everybody is having a bit of a fumbly round, and Greatis comes in first position. I said it will be a battle between Sven and Greatis, but it could be a battle between Greatis and Dvinho, for all we know.
Hey, hold on now, hold your horses. I know you've seen a round where there's been a lot of damage, as someone would say, but I feel like this slight slump in this round from Dvinho will be only a temporary setback. At least that's the way that I see it. So don't get excited too much with Gretis getting his first 10-pointer in this match, because I don't think these opportunities are going to be coming in as frequently as they do. Although I do say that, but Sven, his nearest competitor, has already full stop picked in the second checkpoint, and Gretis as well, the nearest competitor to Sven, also had a little bit of a hot moment. So Kapagazm now has a solid opportunity to try and get back into the match. She has a solid opportunity to move up into second place. She's already sitting in second place right now and grabbing 6 points for herself, whilst Svenjo just continues to cruise around a little bit. Maybe try not to cruise too much, because we've seen it in different other disciplines, not just Trackmania, but sometimes just the act of trying to tell yourself to slow down and acting maybe not quite accordingly, maybe overzealously slowing down, can hamper your performance quite badly. It's happened in Trackmania, and it's happened also in Formula 1 to the late great Ayrton Senna, for instance, during the Monaco Grand Prix 1988. This is an anecdote that gets thrown around a lot of time because it is such a picture-perfect example, and I do bring that up because just a few days ago, on the May the 1st, of course, we were celebrating the 30 years since his passing, tragically losing his life at the crash at Tamburello. But yeah, all that aside, for now, Dvinho manages to get himself into a bit of a cruising rhythm without really succumbing too much to the sirens of, yeah, you can slow down way faster, that's fine. So yeah, so far so good for Dvinho, continuing to lead about a quarter of the way through already with 26 points out of the 120 required.
Yeah, it is also something that is worth mentioning, actually. Yeah, then now the points limit is 120. These are qualification matches, you know. This is not something that you're just going to be, you know, this is literally their final chance to get through to the offline finals as well, and it is very rightly said. So currently everybody is having a good time, and honestly, Dvinho should just run away with this, get as many points on the board as possible, and just not even allow Sven and Kretis to even get remotely close. They can fight out for the second position, but Dvinho should be the one to secure first position, and getting faster and faster with every round as well. So that is good to see. 55.3 as well, very solid for Musha standards as well. It's not a sub 55, but still, it is very much good enough, as Sven and Kretis are equal on 22 points as we move on to the next track as well. So very good stuff, and it is going to be the wild child, where we saw a lot of weird stuff happen throughout the entire tournament. And honestly, this could be the track where a lot of points can be lost and won at the same time, and it could be anybody's points to take, to be honest.
Yeah, it could be easily a throwaway map of many throwaway rounds for some of these players who have those in the bag, and then sometimes they just have a little bit of a pixel clip that completely tanks their momentum, or they completely flat out miss the finish ring. And due to not having the fortitude of actually looking for the safe way, we do see a respawn, which completely tanks the momentum and basically kind of spells the death knell of that particular round's chance of actually yielding points to the player that makes mistakes. But in the meantime, we're going to be heading into our next round in about 30 seconds time. Just a quick score recap. Dvinho, 36 points in the lead, 22 points apiece for Gretis and Sven in joint second, and Kapagazm at 9 points in fourth position.
Yeah, that is true. Hey, if you want to make yourself feel better, you can think about the fact that Epos wasn't even able to finish one round on this track, you know. And as a high-quality player as he is, you know, you can just think about it. You know, if Epos makes mistakes on a track, it's perfectly fine that you will make a mistake on this track. You know, if Epos cannot finish and you don't finish, you know, hey, it happens to the best of us, quite literally. But for the time being, it is one of those rounds where we'll have to see if the players can start off with a decent start. Dvinho already trying to minimize that airtime on the landing as well. That is where that speed comes from the first segments of the track, and everybody else is having a sweet time together, while Kapagazm has a bit of an awkward landing. So it is Kretis and Sven battling it out, and Dvinho still holding on to the lead, getting awfully close to the walls. It can go very wrong rather quickly with the walls on either side, but for the time being at least, everybody's keeping within distance. Nothing majorly going wrong. The one thing that can go wrong is this drift. You can go a bit too wide here and clip that border on the left, but so far looking good for everybody involved. Latvia and Lithuania holding 1 and 2, and that is in the bag for now. And the deadlock, at least for now, between Kretis and Sven is broken, as Kretis takes the 2-point lead, with Dvinho smoothly going through the set of matches. He has 4 out of 5 rounds won, with only 1 second place.
Yeah, and a 50.1 being driven early on, so nice little bit of route to be sending yourself into the groove in terms of time. Just of course as a bit of a reference, the 49.3 is the current world record held by Panda. 0.362 that was of course driven during the early stages of the qualifier yesterday. Right now, Dvinho getting a solid start, much better start than everybody else involved, as we did see a clip from Catbagasm as well as from Greatest promoting Sven up into second position. But yeah, Dvinho currently is sitting half a second ahead of the rest of the field, and so far the Latvian-British player from Molotov, I guess we can call it that way, with dual citizenship, it's always a little bit difficult to figure out. But right now, the man from Molotov looking very, very solid and just looking to try to get this over with as soon as possible, getting close to earning himself 10 points. There it is at the final jump, and it will be a 49 being driven by Dvinho, around half a second away from the current record at 49.875. So that is a very, very respectable time. We're heading into very, very quick round pace territory. 56 points for Dvinho, and Greatest does not get any points, did not reach the finish line, so that means Sven slips through into second place provisionally.
Yeah, that is still good points, and to keep in mind as well that the fact that the sub 50 is a very good time on this track, and it is the fact that it just, the wood, I was about to say the snow wood balls, now that's the snow car, the wood snowballs quite a lot. It's just the speed just gives you more acceleration, more speed, and you just sort of run away with it. But for the time being, Reitis is actually a lot closer than he has been in other rounds compared, so could be a bit of difference, but you can see the difference, how much that speed does. Dvinho already gains like a tenth or two just by being faster in that section, and of course he has to keep in mind that speed, that he doesn't overdo it, but all looking good for Dvinho, definitely making the wild child much more tame. The Sven is trying to overtake Greatest, and actually does, right on the line in the end by 10,000th of a second, finishing slightly more to the left. That ring finish makes the difference in that regard as well, so very good stuff for him as well, and increasing the lead in front of Greatest. That is a battle we'll keep in mind. This Dvinho, I think he's more than happy and more secure to just hold on to that first position and not even let it go.
But yeah, you were talking about the wood snowball effect, and yeah, this was something that was very much displayed with Greatest. He doesn't really enter with a lot of speed and a lot of confidence also into those particular wood sections, which means he not only loses out to Dvinho, but also to Sven. Sven manages to get it that bit better, especially in the final wood part just before the finish, as we do see the leader completely fumbling it through the middle sector, allowing Sven and Greatest to have the opportunity of a lifetime to get a 10-pointer for themselves. And right now it's going to be Sven holding a steady lead, and he's going to be taking advantage of that particular edge that he has in terms of entry speed into the last wood to continue building the gap back up. Currently he's sitting at around 2/10. Maybe doesn't have as much speed as I thought he would have had in the final jump, but still manages to cross the line about a 10.5 ahead of Greatest with a 50.515. Dvinho will have to be content with a third place, which rounds him out nicely to a 70-point count. And in the meantime, Greatest will be taking 6 points for himself, but you can see the gap already widening. 10 points between second and third as we head to our next map, which is going to be Greatest's pick, Melohi by Whiskey.
Yeah, that is very good. And honestly, that was a good round by Sven. Getting 10 points in this situation is such a world of difference compared to as well. And I do love the fact, I was gonna make a joke right now in the regards that Catbagasm is typing more messages in Twitch chat than he's actually getting points per round. But you know, that is a joke on my end. Hopefully she can take it with a light heart. I just couldn't, I'm keeping an eye on the chat, and I just saw her chatting away there, and I couldn't resist to just put it in there. You know, we do love you, having you in the match as well. You're doing your best, Catbagasm, and hopefully, you know, maybe you can, you know, twist and turns, make somebody's life a bit more difficult. But for the time being, this track, well, this track has also been a bit interesting because there's many places where you can just clip just a little bit, you know. That little clip can make such a difference, and we'll see if that comes into play on this track, which I think it will. Hopefully not for the more crucial rounds where they actually need points.
Yeah, and to be completely fair, this is a map where we've seen, yeah, you do point out the clips, and also clips can happen very, very early on this particular map. They can happen as early as the transition, as the drop down into the dirt at the start of this map, or they can happen at the transfer, and pretty much at any other point of the map. And we've seen pretty much every single possible clip under the sun here on this map over the course of the qualifiers. We're getting started with round 1 out of 4 here on Melohi. Quick score recap: 70 points for Dvinho, 48 for Sven, 38 for Gretis, and 22 for Kapagazm, who decides to go for a higher line to cross the checkpoint in 3rd place, as it is Sven who's forced to respawn and completely messed up the transfer jump. So that is going to be a big opportunity for Gretis, who manages to get over the pole jump just okay, manages to come away through the other side, but loses a ton of time, as a matter of fact, and even clips on the ring on the inside through the reactor boost part. Manages to get the jump clean, but that means Dvinho is just going to be secure in 1st place and continuing to pull away at a very decent rate of knots. Now the gap is most likely over the 2nd, and that's such an unfortunate clip for Gretis at the end of that RPG ring jump section, quote-unquote, and that will be relegating him down to 3rd, with Kapagazm taking the points for 2nd place, Gretis in 3rd, but Sven not even getting to score any points, so allowing Gretis to eat away at the gap bit by bit, whilst Dvinho is already at the 2/3 mark through the finalist status, 80 to 120.
Yeah, Catpagasm clearly took my joke a lot more seriously, and immediately went, you know what, I'll just get 2nd position, you know. Maybe I'll win a round next time, you know, how about that? But we'll see how things will go. Yeah, Sven didn't get off to a good start, and we gotta keep in mind that timeout is only 10 seconds, so there isn't much time for you. So if you have to go for 1 respawn, still fine, that can work. But if you have to go for a 2nd one, you have to have a very good respawn from that checkpoint, because otherwise you're just not gonna make it. If there is more than 10 seconds, you might as well DNF, or you have to hope that the leader makes a mistake and you get a bit of extra few seconds. But for the time being, it is Dvinho carrying his way to victory at the moment, looking rather good. Kratis actually has a bit more, well, has a bit more speed, because Dvinho did lose the gear on the clip there, but he doesn't make the finish. He jumps too low. What are you doing, Dvinho, man? Just jump into the finish. You don't need to go for the low jump. What are you doing, Blood? What's Blood doing?
Oh, that's it. I don't know anything. I don't have anything to say, really. I think you summarized the situation pretty well, Kitty. But yeah, in a sense, that also benefited to Sven, because Sven was having a bit of a hard time through that round so far on Melohi, and manages to get back up to 3rd, then promoted up to 2nd due to Dvinho's mistake, and that allows him to limit the points loss compared to Gretis, who got the full fat 10-pointer, which means Sven still leads in that contest, but the gap has been shrunk down to just a mere 2 points, and now you can see Dvinho now slowing down dramatically through the middle sector, and now falling prey to both Sven and Gretis due to those slowdowns, and now this is going to be a battle of supremacy, which Gretis is going to be falling horribly behind on as he goes for a full-on barrel roll. In the meantime, Dvinho goes for the full low jump, goes ahead of Sven. Sven trying to carry a bit more speed on the outside, but he's forced to overcorrect, thus scrubbing off a bit more speed than Dvinho is able to. And thus, it will be a win for Dvinho, trying to make amends from the previous round. 2/10 clear of Sven, and thus takes another 10-pointer for himself. Gretis in 3rd place, and Kapagazm will not be able to reach the finish line, so no points being scored. The Norwegian remains in 4th with 32 points.
Yeah, all looking still good. They are still relatively close. I mean, Dvinho has still a few rounds to go. A minor hiccups then and there, but he still has quite literally 33 points, you know, spare. If there's ever a cushion, that is probably the most softest cushion you can live when your life is. Kratis doesn't make the jump, has to respawn again, so it only allows for Sven to now get some easy points to go further ahead from Kratis, as Dvinho doesn't know how to do a drift and allows Sven to overtake there. So Dvinho is now falling a bit behind, and is with Catpagasm. Well, actually Dvinho is still in 2nd position, so even with that little fumble, he still holds on to 2nd position. So a bit of a hectic round, and the only person to survive so far is Sven, who's looking to get the easiest 10 points of his life here. And I'm sure he will be more than happy to take that, and that's exactly what he will do. So 10 points for Sven, 6 for Dvinho, 4 for Catpagasm, and Kratis with a modest 3 to end off the round. So still not all over, and Dvinho sets him up for the dreaded 99, which if he wins every single round from now, he will be on 119.
Yeah, and we're going to be heading on to our next map. We're going to be heading to, I think it was the Catbagasm pick at this point. It is going to be Karluki's venue. And yeah, that was a bit of a half and half scenario for Greatest, because he came in and had a pretty solid shot that he managed to convert into solid points hauls, combined with the demise of Sven very, very early on in the first 2 rounds on Melohi. So that enabled him to bridge the gap back down to a mere 2 points. But then on that final round, it all just went away for the Lithuanian, as he completely flung those opportunities and allowed Sven to get the easiest 10-pointer of his life, which has been converted thanks to the help of Dvinio's mistake a little bit earlier on. So that means it will be Sven now having a pretty solid 11-point buffer between himself and 3rd place, which is essentially a round win for Greatest, coupled with a DNF from Sven. That's a nice worst-case scenario to kind of prepare yourself on in trying to manage the gap back to. But so far, Dvinio, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly the most ideal score stand to be standing on, 99 points, but with the buffer that he has, 29 points compared to 2nd place, it's not really that much to worry about, really. That's the least of his worries.
Yeah, I think Dvinio at the moment just has to, you know, it's one of those cases where he just has to get the job done, I think, for Dvinio. I think if I was him, in my head, I would already know that the job is pretty much done. Just have to, you know, close it out, you know, put it in the bag, yoink the ticket, and then say sayonara and see you in Vilnius in 3 weeks, basically. So I think for Dvinio, it's more a matter of not if, it's more about a matter of when he will get to finalist mode and secure that spot. How difficult he's gonna make it for himself, well, that is a tale that is yet to be told. So we'll see how, for the time being, everything is going for him. At least the start is very clean and very speedy as well, so definitely taking the very optimal lines to start off. So good start for him. Sven is 2nd, with Greatest shadowing a fair bit behind. So Sven is closer to, well, I was about to say a lot of things, and everybody just hit every single wall simultaneously, so nothing really has changed. It is still Sven in 2nd and Greatest in 3rd, so everybody hit a wall, so it sort of evened itself out. So Dvinio still gets 1st, Sven gets 2nd, and Greatest is 3rd, with Catbagasm coming in. Well, he's trying to go for a very risky line there and finding every single hole imaginable and sinking into it as well.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Catbagasm, but yeah, we had an instance of players coming together and being like, you know what? I think we haven't turned the light off at that particular corner for a while. Let's all hit it together so that to make sure that it is properly off. So now that it is off and nothing has been completely changed, they were like, okay, we can continue on our merry way. In the meantime, yeah, Dvinio on 109. Getting close to that finalist status, 11 points away, and now it's going to be Sven versus Greatest. Currently advantage to Greatest through the 1st sector, but he has a bit of a slow exit from that bump road turn with the drift that conditioned the speed just behind it, and Sven just swoops in and takes 2nd place away from Greatest in one fell swoop. But Greatest is already sticking within the gearbox pretty much of Sven's car, so it's not over just yet as we're heading back to the scene of the crime from previous times, and Sven decides to go for a tap again, or rather involuntarily his car decides to go for a tap again, and Sven is unable to control it, so that means down to 3rd we go for the man from B2 Esports. Greatest promoted up to 2nd position, and he will be taking the 6 points gladly, as in the meantime Dvinio will be moving up to 119 with a time of a 53.221, being driven by the man from Molotov. And if I take a bit of a gander, that's where it starts to get really, really solid. 53.2s, this is where you get into solid round pace, because it's about half a second away from the current record, which is a 52.708 held by Stufts.
Yeah, it is also a classic 119 with Greatest having the nice point total as well. Love to see it. So we have all of the classic memes of the point scoring. Everybody get your ha-has out the way as well. And Dvinio now has to complete a round. If he wants to, he can make it funny and just, you know, let somebody else get the 10-pointer. If he wants to be a bit of a point hoarder, he can take all the 10 points to himself, which I think he will do, because that is the way you want to do it. You want to win, and you want to win comfortably. We'll see if Greatest and Sven can get 4 points. If anything, it's Greatest who would love to get those 10 points, because that would allow to get him closer to Sven, and he is not so far behind with a better and more riskier end. Well, he does do a bit of an interesting wallbang strategy. I don't think a nice parking spot as well for him as well. So honestly, 10 out of 10 for that. But Dvinio gets the win, gets into finalist mode with Sven getting 2nd position, Catbagasm getting 3rd, and Greatest coming in 4th position. So it is a finalist mode for Dvinio, 86 for Sven, Greatest on 72, Catbagasm on 43, and Dvinio could be ending this on venue already.
I mean, we're already seeing in the chat that they can't park, Greatest couldn't park there. But to be fair, with how he parked, I think he can park anywhere, really, because that was supreme parallel park skills from the Lithuanian there. But in the meantime, we're heading into basically our first spot being confirmed, potentially, as Svenjo holds a steady lead of about 0.2 of a second compared to Sven. Greatest not having the great time here on this round on venue, thus dropping down to last place, allowing Sven to continue on this merry way and continuing to build up a gap, allowing him to manage and cruise his way to that second spot, potentially to Vilnius. And in the meantime, Katbagazm currently sitting third, about a second down from the leader, and a further 7/10 down from Sven, who decides to go on the attack. But right now, there's not really much that the B2 Esports player can do, as Svenjo goes way wider than I would have anticipated him, but he crosses the finish line with a 53.776. GG to Svenjo, who is qualified for the Comic-Con Baltics 2024 offline finals in Vilnius.
Yep, he has secured the ticket. Had to go through the lower bracket. I believe he would have loved to beat Speed Self in the upper bracket, but hey, you take it, you're done, bish bash bosh, you're in the offline finals, and that's what matters the most. Now the meat. We got through the the appetizer. We know what we were gonna expect for the first position, but now the true testament begins. It is Kratis versus Sven. To decide who will be going through as the second position. Sven is in a much better position on 16 points, and we saw, at least from the previous match, where Sven was consistent. He didn't make mistakes and allowed him to overtake a fair few times the first position over Vanity. But can Kratis do the same, or maybe, I have a bit more pace is yet to be seen.
Yeah, I just had a little bit of a look at the Trackmania.io leaderboards for the Baltic Flick, and yeah, I see Sven with a 59.058 and Greatest with a 59.058, sorry, and a 59.107 for Sven and Greatest respectively. So the gap is really marginal when it comes to pace, but it now comes down to who has got this track dialed in and who has managed to actually get the strats in so that they can actually pull these kinds of times on the regular basis. Because right now, Sven has managed to do basically the bulk of the work. He's managed to get some solid points in and get as much points as he could, whilst essentially we had the equivalent of a scarecrow on track in the form of Svenjo, just hogging all the 10-pointers for himself, pretty much. But now that that points hog is away from the racetrack, having validated his finalist status, this is where you can see that that advantage that Sven has built up is going to be allowing him a little bit more leeway, maybe a bit more of an insurance policy in case there is something catastrophically wrong happening in one of the following rounds. That's starting right now with round 1 out of 4 on the Baltic Flick, and it's going to be all on Greatest to do the groundwork to try and make it a little bit more tense, maybe, for that last spot in Vilnius in this match.
Yeah, and it can start off already. I mean, maybe there is an inherent speed boost bias for the Baltic Flick track for every Baltic player. That is yet to be confirmed, of course, but for the time being, at least, we see that Kratis is the one in the lead, with Katbagazm being in second position. Kratis also has to somewhat rely on Katbagazm as well, because if he can deny points from Sven, that 10-pointer immediately is worth so much more compared to the usual 1 and 2. So if Katbagazm can hold off Sven, he will be doing our fellow Lithuanian much needed favor. But oh, that's an interesting way to get that ending, and he does exactly so. Kratis gets first, Katbagazm gets second, and Sven gets third. And all of a sudden, that's 6 extra points compared to your competitor, and they're 10 points apart now.
I gotta guess there might have been a little bit of heart rate raising there on the side of Sven, because that was a little bit sketch. We're not gonna lie. For me, at least, it looked a little bit sketch. Went a lot wider at the exit and decided to back that with the wall, which ended up saving his bacon. Which maybe that was the plan all along, given that he had a bad entry. But what is a bad entry here is into sector number 1's third checkpoint, where he had a bit of an airtime, sending him into the outside wall on the Sunset Road, coupled with a hug of the inside wall on the Ice 180. So Greatest and Katbagazm once again in solid positions, although Katbagazm does hit a little bit with the right rear on the setup for the drift to the left-handers, so that's going to be giving Greatest a little bit more of breathing room in terms of position on the track, and Katbagazm also having a little bit of trouble getting the power to the ground at the exit of the ice slide. So that means it's going to be Sven catching back up and trying to limit the damage being taken, but he completely misses the slide himself. So Katbagazm should be secure in second place if they managed to make it through the ending, as we do see Greatest up ahead, managing to make it through just fine, and crosses along with a 1:00.248. Catbagasm second, and for the second time in a row, Sven gets all the way down to last place, and thus concedes an extra 6 points to Greatest, and now Greatest has managed to claw the gap back down to just 4 points, and now the match is once again on.
Yeah, this a clearly Baltic flick, giving the dedication and the motivation for Greatest to pull it back when it matters. But of course, there's still 2 more rounds on the track, but so far at least, mentally it is definitely in Greatest's ballpark. Sven hasn't had a single really good round to really consider him in the contention of it. So for now, at least, seeing Sven up in front is already a much better sight for him. So we'll see if that continues for the time being. Catbagasm is right on his tail. It's not over till yet, and Catbagasm will have a better line for the ice as well. Well, not if you go a bit that hesitant. You really want to, you know, fully send. Sven loses the flick on the dirt, and Greitist is the one now taking the lead. And it is a fight again. And if this round concludes the way it is, the point total will be exactly equal. So if Greitist completes the final flick, both players will be on 106 points. Greitist goes for it, gets the flick. Sven goes for a better one, but it's not enough to catch up, and points are tied with Catbagasm on 62 and the rest of the gentlemen getting on 106.
Yeah, this is going to be looking very, very spicy. It might have been looked a little bit one-sided given the way the match has gone in the middle part of it for Greitist, but now that Svenjo has kind of escaped the sight of all the other competitors, and that we're landed on the map where it's a little bit more proficiency for Greitist to display, now we do see that the Lithuanian really has a solid shot potentially of actually going to the offline finals, but right now he still has to go all the way against Sven. But right now it's all tied up in the points, as you mentioned, 106 to 106, and right now it is Sven in this round, midway through the second sector, who's holding a really big lead of about half a second worth. But right now through the flick, and again you do see Sven going a lot wider than Greitist does, and he manages to make it through because he has the gap to actually make it, and he also got the flick correctly this time, but he had a little bit of a weird landing on the transition into the little divot in the road there, so that allows Greitist to catch back up to try maybe make the issue a little bit more interesting. He's going to be running out of corners surely. There is the final corner, there's the flick from Sven and Greitist. Do they make it through safely? Yes, and Sven crosses the line with a 59.617, 3/10 dead clear of Greitist, and Catbagasm, no, that's such a painful sight to see, a DNF for Catbagasm, which means that no points are earned, 116 to 112, and it's still the lead for Sven, but just a 4-point gap between himself and Greitist as we return to Musha, the map that started it all here in this matchup.
Yeah, where we will go back to where it all began. I mean, if there's any moments, if there's anything that can be relied upon, the fact that maybe Catbagasm can rely on another arrow to get the points as well. You know, she's doing her best, and you know, last time he was going up against, last time they were going up against Name Unknown, and that, you know, went through all the rounds and got to this point. So who knows, you know, pressure is on. There's only one round where it could be double finalist if Greitist and Sven get 1 and 2, for example. Well, Sven can actually be third and still be enough. So still all to play for, and you never know. Musha is a very difficult track, and a lot of things can go so easily wrong. So it's a very tight map with a lot of places to clip, hit, and bonk. So I'm looking forward to how this will roll out. Best of luck to both of these players, and maybe Catbagasm can just go on a miracle run, 4 rounds in a row, win, and get to 102 points. Who knows?
All right, well, I guess we just have the rundown of everything to look out for here on the second rotation of Musha, which will likely be the final map of that particular match due to how the scores are stacked up. 116 to 112 for Sven and Greitist, battling for the last remaining spot in Vilnius, and of course Catbagasm on 62, having to have a lot of work to do here in order to try to even the scales. But right now we're going to be focusing on the perspective of the chaser, Greitist, who's going to be catching up to Sven and keeping on his coattails right through the first sector. And you can see it's pretty much all tied up in terms of the splits. Ghost to ghost, it will be Sven taking the lead, 20 milliseconds ahead of the Lithuanian. But right now, It's going to be all down to the remaining sectors to try and decide that nice transition from one banking to the other banking on the plastic from Greatest, but so far no good enough to allow himself to move ahead of Sven, trying to carry a bit more speed into the dirt. It's still the man from B2 Esports continuing to lead by about a tenth of a second, and Greatest goes a bit too wide and barely grazes the wall with the right rear, so Sven will be continuing to pull away. He did not ask for that much, but he will take it anyway, and thus it will be Sven taking finalist and denying Greatest finalist, as a matter of fact, due to Greatest moving on to 118, a 55.725, the winning round time, 9/10 clear of Greatest. Catbadgasm does reach the finish line, 5 seconds down from the leader. There we go. Red trigram on the car. The red finalist text next to Sven. 1 round win separates him away from the main event.
Yeah, there is one shot, one opportunity. Greatest has to win now both rounds in a row, or hope that maybe Catbadgasm is able to deny 1 round from Sven. Ooh. Sven is out. Greatest is in the pole, and for some ungodly reason, both players who need the points are in the mud, and Catbadgasm is on her way to get their first victory, but Greatest has a much better position. Well, I say that Catbadgasm, well, you tried. Greatest is again in the lead, Sven is on the chase, and we are back on the race, and Greatest is in the lead. Hopefully nothing goes wrong now here. He needs to get this victory. Sven is trying to catch up. He's getting a better line, bit of wobbly, bit of going up again. Very good so far, no clip, so it will come down. Who will be pushing this drift? Sven has a lot more speed. Greatest, he needs to get a good drift here. Sven is pushing it. Does he go a bit too wide? He is a bit too wide. Greatest gets into first position, overtaking Sven, and it will be double finalists to decide who will take that final, well, will take the ticket to Vilnius to secure it.
Oh my god, imagine the nerves. You can see the nerves, as SRK's pointed out, but imagine the nerves. I'm starting to get a little bit of the shakies myself just watching that round unfold. But here we go, double finalists, Greatest and Sven. Catbadgasm a little bit further in the background at 72 points. We're going to be following the perspective of Greatest, the chaser, and already it's all come apart for the Lithuanian, who crashes into checkpoint number 2, leaving Sven all on his own, against himself pretty much, trying to play fate in his own hands. He has it in his hands to get that ticket to Vilnius. He must not put any foot wrong, but Catbadgasm is not in a position to make any kind of impactful resolution happen that would favor Greatest in any way, and so it will be the way it will go down, with a touch on checkpoint number 2 for Greatest. The last Lithuanian hope, I think it was, in this tournament to get eliminated, as Sven continues to round the final corners and decides to slow down a little bit, decides to go for the full BM as well. Will he have enough speed to clear the jump? Yes, he will. And thus, Sven from B2 Esports is qualified for the offline finals of the Comicom Baltics 2024 Trackmania tournament. GG.
GG. Well, that was probably the most shakiest way to close out a finalist. I think it was like, okay, I just need to finish. No, nothing stupid like in the previous round. Just finish. Also, well done to Unnamed from the United States for winning the round. Well done to them as well. No, I'm just kidding. Trinio was the first position as well. Sven was second. GG to both these players. Unfortunate for Greatest. It's one of those rounds you get the finalist mode through hardship, and then just one turn, done.
It all comes apart.
That's where it all goes wrong, simply. But still, well done to him. So close to securing it for that position.
Okay, well, with that match out of the way, I suggest we go straight into the other match that's currently ongoing on the other side of the way. That is, of course, Tarpor, Koyo, Vanity, and Zaymouse. And we just come in, and it turns out that Tarpor has just validated his finalist status, and we also do see a huge crash from Vanity. So that is unfortunate to see here from the Czech player, and that means we're going to be seeing Kojo and Zaymouse battling it out for first and second at the moment. Please do not mind the turbulences. We're continuing to push through it. Don't worry about it. But in the meantime, leader for that second place in Vilnius in this match will be Kojo with 91 to 84 from Vanity.
Yeah, so all of the Polish power or Czech Republic, who are you supporting here? Or are there enough Dutchies to give the same house the speed they need to get back into the match? At least for now, Polish superpower of Goyo is looking to get their first, well, getting their victory on the board here with securing a nice 10-pointer here, a nice clean finish here. Vanity needing to respawn. I guess he didn't think he would have enough speed for that jump, allowing Same House to come in second. Vanity will be third. just enough, just barely getting over the finish line to secure the points. And Goyo has 101, Vanity 88, same house 66. Pretty close, almost pretty nice numbers to be honest as well.
Yeah, pretty nice numbers to be noted. But yeah, Koyo having a nice buffer to actually manage in case there is a catastrophic round where he cannot get any points, and in the worst case scenario where Vanity does end up getting the 10-pointer. But right now he's deciding to go for the safer approach to that transfer, and it does pay off because it means he's still in second place, while Zaymouse went a little bit higher in that transfer and thus finds himself 6/10 down on the leader and half a second down compared to the nearest pursuant. But we do see a huge wall hit from Kojo. It seems as though Zaymouse also having a lot of trouble, so Kojo is safe in second place, and it's going to be Vanity taking advantage of the trials and tribulations of the other players on the field to basically just pull away and try to get a much-needed 10-pointer that will allow him to bring the gap back down ever so slightly, because Kojo, currently still sitting in second place in this round, should be able to get the 6-pointer towards the end. There we go with Vanity crossing the finish line, 52.967. Kojo in second position, and Zaymouse, oh, he will not get to the finish after that full stopping. As we do hear the laugh from Zaymouse, taking a little bit of solace in that, maybe taking the situation with a little bit of humor, I guess, with that horn. But Koyo on 107 and Vanity up to 98, back down to within 10 points of moving into the lead provisionally of that battle for second.
Yeah, clearly somebody has been in the Spam's Horn community Discord, because that was Spam's Laughter 101 for Zaymouse. Goyo also started off rather late or immediately respawned. I didn't catch what exactly happened to him, but if anything, that is a perfect opportunity for Vanity to get another 10-pointer on the board and close that gap. Well, I say that, and everybody's having a bit of a fumble, allowing Koyo to get a bit closer, but still, he's so far behind that it does not make a difference, because still Vanity and Zaymouse hold on to first and second position, which is, well, I say that, and Zaymouse is the one that clips, and Goyo is the one to overtake, so it doesn't even matter if man late starts, he still gets first position, and Zaymouse has to respawn. Vanity stuck. Will we see our first ever double DNF on the server? Yeah, Zaymouse,
yes, it
come
is.
on! No, he made it! Oh my god, he just barely made it on the last millisecond. Holy moly.
Man, one frame was all it could have taken for this to go horribly wrong for Zaymouse. But, okay, we're heading back to familiar territory there. We're heading back onto Musha. But what on earth were those last few rounds that we've seen on Meloy? I don't really have any words to explain that. I pretty much let you take over, because yeah, that was quite the shenanigans that we've seen. But yeah, Koyo, no, doesn't matter if he starts late or has a respawn, he still comes ahead on top and currently sits just within basically a round finish away of heading into finalists. He's sitting on 117 right now to the 120 required. Vanity has a lot more to push. He's currently sitting on 98 and Zaymouse at 72. It's definitely, he looks like he's already through the looking glass at this point with that kind of deficit to catch back up.
I mean, I'm looking currently at the people that I have going through, and so far I'm 2 out of 3. So I'm pretty good on that from my predictions. I predicted Twinio and Tarper to go through. I didn't predict Sven. I did put somebody else. I did put Henken, but I believe Henken might have some trouble maybe making the match. We'll see about that. We'll get some updates on that later. But in the meantime, at least, Goyo is the one that I predicted to go through, and he's sitting on 117 points compared to Vanity's 98. So honestly, really good odds on this one, not gonna lie. And for this round at least, especially on Musha, again, clearly the map that we love to see to close out matches is Musha, as Vanity and Zaymouse meet each other on the checkpoint and allowing Koyo to run into the sunset.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate, like, double bunk at the very same checkpoint for both Zaymouse and Vanity, allowing Koyo to just sprint away into the distance, as you said, currently 2 seconds up on the nearest competitor right now. That is a great round in the making, as that has been pointed out by Ender. But yeah, this is pretty much just a case of cruising in and bringing it home for Koyo, just to actually get the points that are needed for finalist status at the moment. Just a little hop to avoid the cruise control. Does get a little bit of a bump on the side of the cruise control block, but doesn't trigger the block per se, so it's all good. Despite that little setback, he still finds himself well a second ahead over Koyo, over Zaymouse, and thus Koyo will be taking himself into finalist status with that particular round, 57.3. I mean, it does show that we're now a bit more into match management mode for Koyo, but now it's going to be pulling out all the stops just to get the win on his hands.
Yeah, now he only has to secure the win and get the job done. That's all there has to be. Vanity has to then now deny not only, well, he has to deny 3 times just to get into finalist mode, or hope that Zaymouse gets 1 round. So a lot of things to keep in mind. So for the time being, can Koyo actually do it on his first attempt? He's seen very good start for all things considered, but nobody's really that far behind. Only 2/10 there. Zaymouse is the first one to fall, so it is in the hands of Vanity to actually overtake Koyo and deny the finalist mode victory here. Still pretty close by, and one little nose slide can be the difference between winning and losing this round. Much better setup for Koyo, much better line here as well. And that is a very good way to glide yourself towards the finish line. Koyo's looking very strong indeed. Final drift to make it, and Koyo will be the second person alongside Tarpor to go out of this match and secure their ticket to Vilnius and enjoy an offline final in 3 weeks to come. So well done to them. Vanity also gave it a good try, but not enough today. And those two will be going through. So those 2 matches have now concluded. We had Trino and Sven and Tarpor and Koyo from the first set of 2 matches. We have 4 places decided and 4 more to go.
Yep, exactly. And just to give it a little bit of a rundown of the matches that are still to be played. Now, bear in mind, it hasn't been updated just yet, but we do have the bracket with what the matches are looking like. So we did see Dvenio win ahead of Sven and Gretis, who had a really nice battle, gotta say. Big props to Gretis, who really gave it all he got for that particular battle. Kedbagasm in 78, and you witnessed the end of match 4 with Tarpor and Koyo making it through to the final phase in Velius. Vanity and Zaymouse eliminated, and that leaves matches 2 and 3. Johan Clan, Nixobi, Cervantes, and Kresmas, and on the other side, Henkan, Rotrex, Enzo, and Marintia. As you can see, the results had just updated in real time. Technology, ladies and gentlemen. So you can see Tarpor and Koyo's results having been confirmed now. 104 for Vanity and 82 for Zaymouse. And yeah, this is looking pretty spicy now. 4 places left to decide, and I guess we just gonna have to witness those last 2 matches. I know this might be a little bit sad for some of you, but Kredi, I think you're gonna be witnessing that from the sidelines, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, I hope Turbo is not making it, but I have seen some messages that, you know, one of his seminars has been going longer than expected. So we will get back to it. I might make another miracle appearance. So, but hopefully,
by the way,
it will
I didn't mean it in
I
didn't mean it in a negative way. I just wanted to kind of get my bearings right. But yeah. Hopefully we do get Kai actually joining in, but if that is the case, then thank you very much for anchoring pretty much this entire section of the day, doing the bulk of the work as the main anchor here. And yeah, I guess we're just gonna be taking a little bit of a break for now, just the time, of course, for us to set everything up and get us ready to roll and actually cover the last few matches. Who will be the last 4 people to come with us at in Vilnius at the 2024 Comic-Con Baltics offline finals? It remains to be seen. In the meantime, we're gonna go for a quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and through the miracle powers, we do have Kitty in there for the whole day. Of course, what's happened is that we do have a little bit of scheduling conflicts over on Kai's side. Much love to Kai. He would have been with us for the qualifiers, but I'm pretty sure he's still watching the stream, so I hope you're still going to be enjoying the last set of matches that are going to be happening. And yeah, going to be two very interesting matches. I think we could just head over to the final bracket for one final time just to see what is going to be going on. So Johan Clan, Nixobi, Cervantes, and Cresmas will be your highlighted match for this particular set. With just 10 minutes behind will be Rotrex, Enzo Marijntje, and Henkan. Henkan, who's currently competing in another competition in the Dobre Easter League. So it's going to be a case of both match speedruns any percent for the Swede if he wants to actually contend for one final spot in Vilnius. And yeah, I think we're just going to be going straight into the game because we're going to be getting soon started with the picks and bans between these lovely specimens of players there with Nixobi, Johan Clan, Cresmas, and Cervantes. Two Lithuanians still in with a shot of Vilnius. So I was maybe a little bit too defeatist when it came to the fate of Gretis at this point, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what this match is going to look like.
Well, technically on paper, Gretis was the best chance for Lithuania, and he was one round away from it. But it is one of those cases. There's a lot of storylines here as well, because Johan Clan is looking to, of course, you know, secure his 3 out of 3 visits to the CCB as well, to be qualified as well. So definitely on paper he should be the one to go out. Nixobi, as we were talking in between just before we're coming live as well, Nixobi is one of those players that, you know, when he puts his mind to it, he should be much tuned in to secure as well. So it's all eyes technically, surprisingly, on the Lithuanians, how Cresmas and Cervantes will be able to deny points, and who knows where it will actually go. But honestly, this is an interesting matchup where I think a lot of things can go right and a lot of things, well, could possibly go wrong, but hopefully not when it really matters. But we'll see how things will go, and I'm really looking forward to it, that it won't be Johan Clan and Nixobi really running away with it, and the Lithuanians can actually put up a fight.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to the different scenarios that can unfold, and I'm really hoping that the Lithuanians are going to be able to make a stand. I mean, we were discussing a little bit earlier on before we went back on air. You'd say that the Lithuanians could be very similar on pace, or maybe a little bit of an internal battle brewing between these two. But what do you reckon are the chances of then standing alongside somebody like, you know, like a Johan Clan or an Nixobi in that particular matchup?
It's very hard to say, because I think, like, overall, like, we've seen, at least when we look at like the actual times and the pace and everything, they all kind of fall into a very similar group. At least for when you look at Cresmas and Cervantes, they look pretty much dead on, pretty much bang on the same thing. Nixobi and Johan Clan are the ones that are slightly faster, but we have seen so many things go wrong in these matches, and a lot of these tracks can just swing about, and especially with those 10 pointers, if somebody gets them consistently, or if somebody that for it who it really matters gets it, those points can just be like a roller coaster ride. It's can be such a thing to look out for, and we can see that the pick and pan has already happened on the screen rather quickly, just like a flick as well. And it should be the Baltic flick. No, Wild Child is first, then we have Melohi, Baltic flick, Musha, and then Venue to end us off. So that is the map order for the day. An interesting one, Wild Child to start us off. Not the one that I expected, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not exactly that uncommon, but it's definitely not a sight that we've seen very often on the stream matches anyway so far. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how Kisla's map is going to be distributing the cards in terms of points being handed out to players at first, or being taken by players at first here, due to the somewhat unpredictable nature of some of the rounds, where we do get a lot of damage from round to round over the course of what we've seen so far. But yeah, will be interesting to see how everybody gets on, as we're getting started right here, right now, with the first of the last two matchups here in this particular open qualifier. And once again, we just have to bask into the nice preview that Whiskey has cooked for us over the course of the 5 maps that are, of course, displayed here. Huge shout out to Whiskey, who's just continuing to cook with these camera angles. I mean, just look at them.
Yeah, it's always a nice cookery by the people who know what they're doing. You know, Whiskey, a good mapper, can cook up a good video as well. I don't know about his driving. Probably I'm better, but at least he gets 2 out of the 3 in fronts on me. A better mapper and a better video editor. At least he has that for himself. But at least I can take the driving part. At least I think I'm better. I believe so. So at least something going for me, you know. Copium. Oh, also the casting part as well. So 2 out of 2. Maybe we have to Whiskey, if you're coming to Comic Con LAN, arm wrestling match to decide who's the better person.
All right. Well, I guess the invite is sent out. Hopefully, we get an answer very soon to that. If he's in the chat.
Show match on the Comic Con LAN Baltics on stage.
Show match before
Whiskey versus Greedy.
Show match before the final on stage. Let's go. Anyway, enough blurb aside. It's time to get underway for Cervantes, Christmas, Johan Clan, and Ixobi. We are now racing for the first round out of 4 here on Wild Now. Currently following along with Cervantes, giving us a good overview of what's going on front, and it's going to be Johan Clan getting the first slowdown here at the transition from wood to wood, and so the Dane will be relegated down to 4th position as Cervantes goes for a bit more of a dive through that banked right-hander, as that's going to be leaving him with a little bit of speed left on the table, allowing Kresmas to move up into 2nd place. He was very close to hit the wall. Cervantes does hit the wall. In the meantime, it's going to be a French driver up front in the form of Nick Solby, currently half a second ahead of the rest of the field. Currently, Kresmas just trying to keep himself within contention, just trying to reel the points back in, potentially seeing Nick Solby as a bit more of a scarecrow in a sense, as I like to refer to, just trying to hog that first place in 10 points as much as he can, maybe trying to make it a 13-round deal maybe for the man from Oserv. In the meantime, heading into the finish, it's going to be a 50.2, and Kresmas misses the finish outright, allowing Johan Clan to move up into P2, and Cervantes in P3. What a way to throw away 6 points. He only comes away with half of those points. That is such a wasted opportunity there. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity to get off to a nice start, but I said this before, and I will say it again. That ending takes the best players struggle as well, and we see that already shown as well. Many good players have fumbled at that end. If you fumble it, it's just, you know, one of those days. But you know, you shake it off and you take it a bit more safer in the next round. And we can already see that Kresmas is still back again in 2nd position. Cervantes is also in. Johan Clan is the one. Well, he did get a token 2nd position with the little mistakes that the Lithuanians did, but still, Johan Clan struggling to keep up with everybody at the moment. So really has to hope again for some late miracles in this end. But for now, Cervantes is the one that is snacking in the end a bit. Everybody else seems to be going through, and no fumbles this time. Everybody sticks to their positions. Nick Sobi gets another win on the board, looking to go a full ace path here. And Kresmas Cervantes taking the row here with Johan Clan getting the last position. 998. Can't be any closer. And then there's the Frenchman.
Yeah, and there's Nick Sobi, and then there's the race. That's pretty much the story of what's the map is currently looking like. But as we mentioned the name, he gets what Johan Clan had, but in a bit more of an extreme way. It was just a mere slowdown from Johan Clan on round number 1, but here was a full-on flip almost for the man from Oserv, and thus that is going to be yielding Johan Clan the opportunity to take a team pointer for himself, which is going to be very much valuable and very much needed at this stage, just to not get left behind too soon. And currently Kresmas sitting in 2nd position, just trying to lock those rounds in after a bit of a fumble in round 1, which ended up proving very costly, as we do see Johan Clan going very wide, but carrying a lot more speed compared to Kresmas, who exited a bit sideways and thus was still in the slide on the tarmac, scrubbing a lot more speed than he would have bargained for, allowing Cervantes to still stay in the mix somewhat, but we're heading into the final jump, and that is going to be locking in the positions as Johan Clan clocks in a 50.778 on his way to his first 10-pointer of the match. Kresmas 2nd, Cervantes in 3rd. Nick Sobi does reach the finish line, but it won't be a perfect ace this time around.
Yeah, I've been looking at the Kresmas line. He goes full tight on that turn before the sausage, and it loses in the gear every single time. I guess he just wants to, you know, get it safely and not be one of those members of the clipping community who get put into the clips of every time they hit a wall on the right side. So he just goes for the full safe, doesn't want to even consider the thought of keeping the gear. But the one thing he should be keeping in mind is that drift. after that turn. So everybody is having a bit of an interesting time today. So everybody gets a dip in the I had a fumble in this round, and it is Johan Klan who is in second position with Nick Sobi comfortably in first, and the two Lithuanians battling out for the scraps. So it is a good position for Johan Klan. Does need the punch. Would be nice for him to get the first position, but I don't think Nick Sobi is gonna let it go, and he rightly does not do so. So it is the Dutchman, not I suppose the Dutchman, the Frenchman, the Danishman, and the two Lithuanians to round it out. If Christmas cannot even finish in the end, so not the points that they would have loved to get there.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be desired here on that particular opening map, especially from Christmas. I just can't get over that round one throwaway that happened to him, as we're going to be heading to Whiskey's Melohi, which is a pick from Christmas, to be fair to him. So he's probably just trying to wind himself up for that particular pick to try and get the best of it out of it, trying to get as many points as he can on the board, bearing in mind that there's still very much one clear favorite in the person of Nick Sobi, still very much heading the field with 33 points after the first 4 rounds have been elapsed. But yeah, I'm going to be looking to see what the Lithuanians are going to have in store for us. And of course, Melohi, we've already talked about many clips that can happen here on this map. You've mentioned that a lot more times, and it's been exemplified over the course of the entirety of this qualifier with various clips at various points of the map, be it in the start, in the middle sector, or at the end. And we've also seen close to a double DNF a little bit earlier on with Vanity and Zaymouse, with Zaymouse basically getting the trigger at the very last frame possible. I think that was very safe to say that. But yeah, we're going to be looking to see if that scenario is going to be repeating, or maybe we're going to be getting a little bit more of a tidier map that we've seen so far here on Melohi.
Yeah, it's all to be seen. Of course, Johan Klan is, of course, technically the 3rd seed in this matchup, because he did end up in a 4th position from all of that, all of the shenanigans that happened in the upper bracket last time. So that's why Johan Klan was picking 3rd instead of 2nd. So, but it is one of those cases that the leader of the current race is the first to actually make a mistake, and allows for Johan Klan, Cervantes, and everybody to actually get points on the board. Cervantes has had to go for a respawn. Nick Sobi has had to go for a respawn. So it is only Johan Klan and Christmas who are actually alive still. I don't know. I have to keep an eye on the gaps. They are still within 10 seconds, so they are able to still finish the round. But one more mistake, and that might not just happen. But Christmas is trying to catch up to Johan Klan, and this ending, you can risk it quite a bit. If you go for a very low jump here, you can gain a lot of time, and that is exactly what Johan Klan does. No hesitation, goes for a low jump, gets all of the speed, and is able to still hold on to first position. Barely, because that was a very wobbly way to get onto that platform, but at least it ends up in the finish, and everybody gets to the finish line as well. At least they get some points on the board, but very nice point for Johan Klan. He gets closer to Nick Sobi and gets further away from Christmas and Cervantes.
I mean, never mind Johan Klan's wobbly finish. Cervantes was looking to maybe hit the side of the struts supporting the final platform before the jump into the finish. That was where I was spectating, and it was a little bit of a heart flutter there, I gotta say, as we are currently witnessing the second round, and this time Christmas is forced to have a double respawn, so that's going to be condemning the chances of the Lithuanian to actually go for those big points, allowing Johan Klan to try and continue to pull away, and actually tried to go for a challenge for the lead against Nick Sobi, who's currently on the back foot, sitting in second place, about a quarter of a second to half a second down on the Dane at the present moment. But Nick Sobi now trying to mount the fight back on the last sector, trying to carry a bit more speed. He manages to do so through this little RPG section there, goes for the low jump, allows himself to move up into the lead very temporarily as Johan Klan got a better exit from the corner, but a bit more speed from Nick Sobi, but he completely misses the lineup of the finish. Johan finishes in first, Cervantes in second. Nick Sobi falls down from first to third, does bring home 4 points with him, but that means Johan Klan takes the lead of the proceedings with a 4-point advantage, 45 to 41, 25 for Cervantes, 21 for Christmas. And in the meantime, we do have a little bit of an update on the other match, courtesy of Cam. Shout out to Henkan, who just played a match in the Dobry East League and now hopped onto the final qualifying match for CCB. So we do have a 4-play match to witness after this one, after all.
Yeah, Henkan double dipping, clearly a man who just loves to play Trackmania, so shout out to him. Christmas loves a bit of Tony Hawk as he slides across the edge of the quarter pipe, so hey, good for him, hey, absolutely. Hey, if he qualifies as well, I mean, absolute giga chat, your man is just absolutely just playing to his heart's content. Maybe he will actually also play deep dip as well to end it up for today. Who knows? But I don't know if there's any other competitions running after this qualifier. But either way, we see that Nixobi is now taking a comfortable lead. Johan Klan gets stuck on the edge, allowing Cervantes to come into second position as well, and will be good stuff as well.
Cervantes.
He does get into the finish. Not the most convenient way to get there, but still points on the board, and not points for Johan Klan, but at least not as much as Nixobi, who goes back in the lead. So they go back and forth at the moment, but we have one more round on Melohi before we switch on to the next track. So with Christmas, Christmas hasn't been doing so well on the track pick that he made, so definitely not looking so hot at the moment, so he has to really crawl his way back on the other tracks.
Yeah, definitely looking like a cursed pick in the end for Christmas at this point, as he finds himself on the back foot quite heavily after that clip at the start. 2 seconds down compared to the leader, which is currently Johan Klan, held with Nixobi in second position at the moment, as we do see Cervantes trying his best to try and stay within at the very least a second of the leading duo, but right now it seems to be getting tougher and tougher as the gap hovers around the 8/10 mark, and we do see a trade of blows between Nixobi and Johan Klan, which is going to be slowing them down a little bit compared to Cervantes, who takes the advantage of that to try and catch back up at least at the split provisionally, but you can see the gap now over a second. It's Jover. We are out of the DRS zone, boy, as we do see Nixobi getting reeled in by Johan Klan, and Nixobi does get sniped by Johan at the finish for the nicest time gap, 69 milliseconds in favor of Johan Klan. Cervantes in third and Christmas in P4. It's not so nice for Nixobi though, as he does relinquish the lead by 1 single point to Johan.
How did he even manage to hit the trigger somehow? I guess that hit into the finish block still managed to flick him into the finish block, because I have still no
Flashback to last year's qualifier with Evon doing the exact same thing but getting the win this time.
Yeah, honestly, I have no clue how Nixobi got the trigger. I guess he can be lucky that the gates are much more lenient in the triggers than some other finish blocks might be. So happy for him at least, that otherwise he would have lost a lot more points than just 4 there to Johan Klan. But we move on to the Baltic Flick. Now, the last time we saw this map, we saw Gratis against Sven, and Gratis absolutely, you know, reeled in the points. Will the Baltic Flick? Now we can actually see the confirmation from Cervantes and Christmas. Does the Baltic Flick make a difference when a Baltic player plays it? So this is the true tried and tested method to see if it works. If Cervantes and Christmas is third and fourth, we have actually myth has been busted. We are doing some myth busting here.
Yeah, we've done our best Jamie Heineman and Adam Savage costumes at this point to try and validate that particular urban legend that Baltics do have a speed boost on the ice slides, with the Baltic Flick coming up right now in 10 seconds. Quick score recap, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. 58 for Johan Klan, leading by 1 point from Nixobi at 57. 35 for Cervantes, and 28 for Christmas round 1 out of 4, and I think I'm just gonna let you have the floor for this opening round, Kredi. Just take it away.
Yeah, we get to enjoy a bit of time here as Christmas clips, Cervantes clips, and GG Myth is busted. Was fun while it lasted. Either way, we'll see how things will go, because Nixobi and Johan Klan are taking a very commanding lead, as Christmas and Cervantes have an early mistake already to start off as well. But we'll see if they're able to catch up. We saw a lot of different things go wrong in the ice slides as well, because the double mistake by Nixobi and Johan Klan.
Christmas hitting the pole as well.
What is going on in this round?
Christmas hitting the pole as well.
Sorry, the lead somehow.
Oh, and Cervantes inheriting the lead. I don't believe what I just witnessed. Sorry for the lap, but it's too good to be true. It's too good to see that happen and be true. Christmas unfortunately losing a lot of time at the start of the third sector, allowing Nixobi and Johan Klan to move up into second and third, but Cervantes has got all the room in the world to go to the finish line. He's got 1.5 seconds of a buffer to manage that particular ice slide. Does get a little bit of a wall bonk along the way, but does take a 10-pointer for himself, which is going to be keeping him relatively in the match at a bit of a relative distance. Nixobi and Johan Klan second and third, and Christmas in P4. I think this is going to be one for the Trackmania Esport Clips channel. I don't know about you, but this definitely feels like it.
That was almost slower than the gold medal. Just to emphasize as well, that was one of the rounds ever I've seen. We saw the both Lithuanians having a starting mistake, and then Johan Klan and Nixobi hitting the same corner block as well. So all of the things that could have gone wrong possibly went wrong in that previous round. I guess that is a pretty good introduction of what the Baltic Flick is. It can go so well and it can go so wrong. At least Johan Glan and Nixobi do correct their mistake from the previous round and do not hit that corner. Hopefully it goes, but Nixobi finds the next corner before on the ice slide and lends his position over to the two Lithuanians, who are all having a bit of a struggle as well. And Cervantes is the one in second position, with Christmas being in third. So Nixobi finding every single corner to just have a bit of a flick in the wrong way, you know, not the Baltic flick, but the Nixobi flick, it seems like at this point. Or maybe it's the French flick, I don't even know at this point. But Johan Glan gets first, Cervantes is second, Christmas is third, and Nixobi gets fourth.
Be careful with what you say, young man. Remember who you're working with here. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, very unfortunate for Nixobi to have that. And yeah, that bonk at the start of the ice slide just completely sent him off course, forcing him to respawn, dropping in from first to fourth. And thus, as a result of this, we do end up with Johan Glan having a 6-point lead over Nixobi. And actually, both the players having made their way past the halfway point. I completely forgot about that. Once we were actually just rambling and yapping about those mistakes happening in the first two rounds, we do see plenty of progress being made by the top two leaders. And again, we do see a lot of points being left on the table by the two Lithuanians, with Christmas especially after showing promise in the early rounds, falling way behind as Johan Glan does get a bonk 2 out of 3 rounds at that very first flagpole corner and gets another bonk on the pole, allowing Cervantes to move up into third. Meanwhile, Nixobi tries to correct the mistakes of rounds past, continuing to hold the lead. Currently, Christmas is the nearest competitor, quote-unquote, currently still sitting about half a second to 6/10 down on Nixobi at the moment. But yeah, Christmas does need some points quite desperately, because after that early promise in the first few rounds, it has completely tanked down quite considerably, especially on Melohi. He was not having the greatest of times. And, oh, that's so unfortunate. That setup was a little bit too shallow for Christmas at the flick, as we do see a barrel roll finish for Cervantes. Top 10 style points. He is a stun driver after all, I might be. Christmas does manage to reach the finish line in third, and Johan Glan does not score any points, which means Nixobi takes the lead over.
Yep, it's a roller coaster ride of emotions, that is for sure. What a crazy match that we are being treated to as well. Johan Glan has yet to find, well, at least both Nixobi and Johan Glan have found the corner of every single block so far, and Crespo and Cervantes have not been able to take any sort of advantage of those mistakes. But if anything is to go by, it shows that this match is far from over. I mean, you can look at Nixobi and Johan Glan having a very comfortable lead, and honestly, I would still say that you know what, these things can go so wrong in just one turn. But so far, everybody is actually surviving, and it is actually Johan Glan and Crespas being in the lead, and Nixobi being with Johan Glan almost giving away the lead to Crespas, and Nixobi chasing that lead now, and Cervantes is third. So Crespas could be going for his first victory, but Nixobi has a lot more speed, goes in for the attack, but that flick is not enough. But a great race in the end. Johan Glan comes in third with Cervantes fourth, and that is how the cookie crumbles, and Crespas gets a win. So a lot, those points are so worth it right now, but at least it closes the gap a bit. But he's a lot of work to be done still.
Yeah, still a lot of work to be done, especially after that second map, which was Melohi. That wasn't exactly turning into his favor for Cresmas. But those last couple rounds here on the Baltic Flick really served him right, and allows him to get some semblance of momentum back, because it's a very momentum-based game, Trackmania. No matter where you actually look at it, no matter it is momentum on the racetrack, of course, with the lines that you have to take, and momentum in terms of the points that you can actually gather. And it's important to actually build on this momentum for Cresmas. But when you go from one map to the next, like going from the Baltic Flick to Musha, which is going to be the next map, and the differences of approaches between these two could sometimes send that momentum off the rails, and can potentially completely kill any sort of hope of actually continuing to build on that momentum to get the points continuing to go.
Yeah, I was just watching the warm-up. Everybody's enjoying the very sick and wicked map showcase by Whiskey, while I was watching the warm-up round, and Cervantes and Crespas hitting the same exact hole unanimously, even in warm-up. So even the Lithuanians in warm-up do exactly the same thing. So it wasn't caught on camera, but at least I caught it with my own eyes, and I'm looking forward to what this track can offer us. You don't see it in the map showcase, because of course map showcase has to look very nice and unique. But we'll see how the rounds go, so maybe we'll see some of those examples coming through as we go into the next round.
All right, here we go then. Round 1 out of 4 on Musha. Beware of checkpoint number 2. This is where we've seen a lot of players break their teeth over the course of the round. So far, checkpoint 2 does run clean with that triangle line that I said in the last day. Key Freak would be very proud of. We know we had a debate over this already long time ago during AOPL, if I remember right, as Nick Solby completely messes up the exit of the wet plastic part. But yeah, triangle lines, we do all have our opinions on this one, but yeah, this is definitely one of the first hurdles to kind of clear here on Musha. And so far, the man who clears the hurdles the most perfectly so far is going to be Christmas, about 0.3 of a second ahead of the rest of the field, although he does get reeled in by Cervantes and Johan Clan and gets a very shaky entry into the third sector, but Cervantes completely full stop picks at the checkpoint and clips as well on the plastic part behind that, forced to respawn. Johan Clan is too far behind and forced to release quite significantly, so Christmas will be taking the 10-pointer gladly to send himself back on track. Up to 59 points he goes. Johan Clan second, Nick Solby in P3, which we'll see the Dane slowly but surely closing in, and we do see Cervantes reaching the finish line to take the 3 points for himself, and now we can see Christmas starting to climb back up the ladder. He still has quite a lot of places and quite a lot of points to go in order to be in contention for a spot in Valiance, but right now, this could be the start of a good fight back.
Yeah, this is where the repetition of 10-6, 4-3 comes into play a lot more, because I personally don't like that points repetition. It doesn't, of course, fit my playstyle. More I prefer 10-7, 10-7, 5-3 or something on those lines, much more. But also in regards to triangle checkpoints, burn them, put them in the bin. We have gates now.
Here we go.
Mappers. Nobody likes a triangle checkpoint. It just asks to be clipped, and in various ways. As Christmas finds the hole to clip as well, maybe less holes as well would be nice as well. But Nick Solby is the one in the lead with Johan Klan in second position, and it looks to be a comfortable win for the first and second position of the match. Ooh, a bit of a lower jump by Nick Solby, but a very decent time still. Gets the 10 points, 6 points for Johan Klan. Christmas gets 4, and Cervantes gets a 3.
Yeah, and yeah, Nick Solby does get a very needed 10-pointer. I say very needed 10-pointer. He's still finding himself pretty far up ahead. He's past the 3/4 mark at this point with 96 points collected out of 120 required for finalist status. But he's definitely had a string of rounds where not much did go to plan for him, especially after that unfortunate missed opportunity of the snipe at the last round of the Baltic Flick versus Christmas, who managed to resist quite well, so kudos to Christmas for that. But yeah, the last few rounds for him have not really been the points all that he was expecting after the grateful start that he had on Wild Child. So right now, that first round win on Musha is definitely going to be giving him a lot of healing powers to try and actually get some momentum back. Currently just 24 points away from that finalist status, and his nearest competitor, Johan Klan, as we do see Christmas full stop picking from the perspective of Cervantes, and thus forced to respawn. So Cervantes inherits that second place, and Johan up to third. And yeah, Johan currently finding himself on the back foot once again, 1 second down, but Cervantes will help his cause by just going a little bit too hard and clipping on the outside retaining wall in the plastic. 1.5 seconds still the deficit for Johan Klan compared to Nick Solby, who will be able to take the win. The Frenchman clocking in at 55.598. Johan Klan second, Cervantes in third. Christmas does reach the finish line to take the 4 points, and it seems as though that momentum killer could be setting in right now for Christmas with that unfortunate full stop pick, which can definitely do a player in.
Yeah, it definitely can make the difference. I mean, the thing at the moment, of course, is to look at the moment that, yeah, it puts Cervantes and Christmas in such a difficult position, because even from my own perspective when I play tournaments, is when you are behind, like, significantly, we see Johan Glenn being stuck in the checkpoint as well a bit there. So it puts you in a situation where Nick Solby also, well, I keep talking out my ass. Apparently, Lithuanians are doing so great. They're 1 and 2. What am I even talking about? They're gonna win, Nick Solby and Johan.
Just go with it.
Yeah, no, they are not gonna make it into the CCB. Regardless of the point, it puts a lot of pressure on being behind, because you know you have to push, especially against opponents who are on paper a lot stronger and a lot more consistent. As Christmas again finds the same hole on the same position and finds himself in 4th position. Well, overtakes Johan Klan at least, but Nick Solby is a bit too far away. Cervantes maybe gets his first 10-pointer here, and does so very nicely. Nick Solby is third, Johan Klan and Christmas have a bit of a race, but Christmas gets the short end of the stick. Is in the 69-point community, but that is not much better than being almost 30 to 40 points behind the leading front.
Yeah, exactly. Currently sitting about 29 points behind second placed Johan Clan at the moment, as Nick Solby is getting very, very close to that finalist status, as we're going to be heading on Karluki's venue, arguably the fastest map of the entire map pack. I don't think it's not the shortest in terms of length. We've seen shorter in terms of length, but in terms of feeling, this is where it really starts to get really, really crazy, really, really fast. Because as you mentioned, the start may be a little bit slower pace with the sort of corners that you have to take, but then after that, it just becomes insanely fast-paced.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks, like I said before, I've said this many times I think already, that yeah, it's one of those tracks that I don't think it all usually fits the build that you would expect from Karluki. The first 10 seconds, of course, Karluki loves an interesting start, that's for sure, but the rest of the track is very fast-paced and really just doesn't let go of the speed whatsoever, so it's not something you see often from Karluki, but definitely on the easier end of the maps in my opinion. Apart from that first 10 seconds, which can go horribly wrong, but overall the rest of the track is quite easy. It's one of those tracks where it's easy to go through, but when you have to push it, that's where those little details come to matter. So we'll see how Nick Solby and Johan Clan can do, and maybe Cervantes and Crespas can get some more points on the board, but we'll see how things go.
Alrighty then, Nick Solby on 112, Johan Clan on 98, Cervantes on 80, so it's still not all over for the Lithuanians just yet, because, yeah, Johan has still left quite a lot of points on the table compared to Nick Solby. In the meantime, Nick Solby is just continuing to run away with this, although he does need to win the round that is currently being played to access finalist status of his own, and right now we do see that Johan Clan is not willing to take this one lying down and continuing to make the job a little bit harder for Nick Solby that need be, and right now it's going to be all down to the Frenchman to try and retaliate to those attacks from the Dane. In the meantime, behind, we do see that the Lithuanians are getting left behind quite significantly already in the middle sector, with Kresmas sitting in third place, about half a second down compared to the battle for the top two, but you can see the speed that Nick Solby was able to carry through the long left-hander before the reactor boost part. The man from Oserv looking very much poised to take that finalist status for himself. Of course, we do still have to negotiate the final corner and the jump to the risky finish line, but it should be good enough for the Frenchman indeed, with a 53.954 for Nick Solby, 2/10 clear of Johan Clan, Kresmas in third, and Cervantes in P4, and that is it. Red on black. That's the color of what the trigram is going to be for Nick Solby. Finalist status begins. He is one round win away of going to Vilnius.
Yeah, one more round to go. Usually the most difficult one. It's usually very common that you don't get it on your first try because things just go immediately wrong, and you lose all sense of direction when you go into that finalist mode. But at the moment, Nick Solby looks very good, and this round already looks very clean to start off. Johan Clan has fallen a fair bit behind, so it's actually only the Lithuanians to really deny the man, or Nick Solby himself, to make the difference, but he's going for it. You can see that man is confident, man is clean with his lines, and he's not even holding back. He knows that the only way to drive is to drive risky, and that is the most comfortable way to win. Nick Solby is on his way to absolutely obliterate his previous round time, I believe. If he gets this drift really nicely and exactly does so, goes clean near the wall, goes towards the jump, and absolutely does a nice round here. GG to Nick Solby, secures his spot in the offline finals in the Comic-Con Baltics in a few weeks' time. And now it's up to Johan Clan to hold the front of the Lithuanians that are looking to at least catch up to him in due course.
Yeah, and now this is going to be where the rubber meets the road for Kresmas and Cervantes, because now that we have one less player on the field, we do have the 10-pointer that is starting to free up maybe a little bit more. And as we've seen, Johan Clan is definitely not immune from mistakes. He's been less immune to mistakes than Nick Solby, who still made mistakes, of course, over the course of this match. But Johan Clan seems to be a bit more of an easier prey, quote-unquote, not to be a completely negative of Johan Clan's speed, because he's definitely among the favorites to get that second spot to Vilnius. But this is an opportunity maybe for Kresmas to take advantage of those particular mistakes that Johan Clan can see creep in. But right now we do see Johan Clan carrying a lot more speed through the left-hander. He's going to go side by side with Kresmas through the reactor boost part on the grass. Kresmas continuing to hold steady, trying to go a bit wide, but goes a bit too wide and loses a lot of speed in the process, allowing Johan Clan to go back into the lead of the race and takes the 10-pointer for himself. Will be moving on to 118 as a result of this, which means next round he just has to bring it home to go on to finalist status. Kresmas does take the 6 points for second place, and Cervantes takes the 4 points for third place. He's 3/4 of the way there at 90 points. it's still quite a long way to go. Still 3 round wins worth of points for Cervantes to try and get finalist status in the first place.
Yeah, it's a lot of points, but keep in mind, you know, it's one of those cases if the rounds are not going your way, that's still 3 rounds. And speaking of rounds not going your way, Johan Klan already concedes a lot of time to Kresmas. Cervantes is also a fair bit behind, so everybody's holding their distance, half a second behind each other, and keep shadowing and waiting for a mistake to happen here at the moment. Johan Klan does have a better approach to this section, usually catches up a bit more, but Kresmas is now finding a bit of a motor, actually getting away from Johan Klan in this situation, but that is a bit too heavy on, bit too light on the drift, and goes into the first upcoming fall wall for Kresmas, and Cervantes is the one that has to deny Johan Klan. Well, Johan Klan was going to be finalist anyway, but this would have been a perfect opportunity to catch some points, and this ending is not as fast, I think, also for Johan Klan. Oh my god, he almost didn't make it. He hit the pole, but it ended up sending him into the finish still. Oh, that's a bit of that's a bit of a saved moment right there.
Yeah, that ending was cumbersome, to say the least, for Johan Klan, after a bit of a weird landing at the jump to the corner that was preceding that, and yeah, that kind of impacted the speed for the rest of the section as a bit of a domino effect. Manages to wing bang boom his way through, kind of like a ball, kind of like the ball of a pinball machine, so to speak, going through the flippers. But yeah, Johan Klan has done the hard work. He brought her home. He's now going on to the final hurdle. Finalist status, pulling out all the stops now, and he still has quite a significant buffer to his nearest competitor, which is Cervantes at the present moment. 96 points for him, Kresmas on 89, although we did see Kresmas take a 10-pointer early on Wild Child, so I think we could see Kresmas try to make a stand for himself and try to be a bit more opportunistic in the rounds that he's taking, maybe even try to smooth out some of the rough edges that have propped up in over the course of the match in his driving, but we'll see. Johan Klan is pretty much his match to lose at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where it is you cannot afford any mistakes here at this point. Johan Klan is in finalist mode, and if one of them fumbles, and I know Kresmas does not like to go for that line that keeps the gear right before the sausage drift into the final segment, so it's all a matter of if Kresmas can hold on, or if Johan Klan can just, you know, get it done, 1 round, 1 opportunity, and get the finalist mode secured. So it all boils down to the Wild Child, the track that we technically started with. So again, we come back full road here with the Wild Child to decide it in the end. But can Johan Klan do it in his first attempt? We see already Cervantes clipping the early wood, so it is Kresmas who is the only one who can really deny Johan Klan here. Much better entry here. Good drift by both players. They are neck and neck at the ball. Johan Klan gets very close to the wall, but he's able to avoid it. Kresmas has to release in order to not fly out of the sausage. Johan Klan gets an absolute speech bubble moment, and that is 1 round down for Johan Klan, unless Kresmas has a bit of a moment here, but it looks to be going full safe here and getting the corners done and dusted. So now that is 1 round done. Can Johan Klan get it in the next one? Unless Kresmas, no, he does not miss the finish. Cervantes also gets it into the finish. It doesn't matter for Johan Klan, but at least he would like to deny some points. Does not even get to the finish. Well, that not like it really matters for him, to be honest. But he gives a lot of points away, and they are creeping ever so closer.
Yeah, exactly. That first attempt won't cut it for Johan Klan. He's going to have to go again, and that's probably the worst case scenario whenever you make a mistake so powerful that you don't even get the chance to deny points for some of your closest competitors, because that means Kresmas and Cervantes can really mount a proper fight back, and Kresmas getting an absolute godlike start at this particular round, but gets reeled in slowly but surely by Johan Klan through the final part of the first sector there. So Johan is continuing to chase down. He's got so much more speed at the exit of the long left-hander before the flat. He's forced to release though at the top of the sausage road, so that means he will still be under threat from Kresmas as he touches the wall on the outside of the double right-hander on the wood, and that means Kresmas takes the lead. He was very close to hitting the wall himself, as we did see Cervantes forced to respawn, so that's 3rd place locked in for Cervantes, 2nd place locked in for Johan Klan. Now it's all down to Kresmas to just bring this one home and take the 10-pointer for himself to move himself onto 109, 50.978. Johan Klan does reach the finish, but gets denied, and Cervantes, in the meantime, only gets the 4 points, so still, Johan Klan kind of playing himself, giving himself a little bit of breathing room, allowing himself to take down Cervantes to 4th place provisionally. I was gonna say 3rd place, but it's a 3rd place in the contest for the last remaining finalist spot. So I guess it kind of checks out. But Christmas looking to be in with a shot
already.
Yeah, Johan Klan as well. Nice spots. That's such a bummer. Johan Klan completely crumbling, completely imploding at this stage of the match, which is such a bummer to see. And it's all benefit to Christmas, who's just continuing to hold a solid lead over his fellow compatriot Cervantes, half a second ahead.
This is all following the script ever so well. We need an extra Baltic player to come through from this event. We have half of a Baltic player in Twinio going through, but we need an absolutely, you know, a full-blown Baltic person to go through. But the only problem for Christmas is that this victory puts him on 119 points. So he has to win one more time, and Cervantes somehow still gets over the line. He had the most weirdest way to get into that ring finish I've seen in a while, but he gets across the line. So
yeah.
Christmas has to win one more time to get into finalist mode and hopefully not crumble at the final hurdle.
You know what the real kicker is, KD? I believe this is round 4 of Wild Child, which means after that we switched over to Melohi, which was a map pick from Christmas, but it worked against him so hard that I feel like he's kind of dreading it at this point for this map to come up. So he's gonna try to give it all he's got to the best of his ability, but look at Johan coming back thick and fast through the first sector to steal the lead away, but he goes way too wide and clips the wall on the outside. Cervantes also seizes the opportunity to move up to second himself, but he full stop picks it to the checkpoint. Oh my goodness, Cervantes, what are you doing, buddy? That is one surefire way to send those points in the bin, and those points are getting thrown in the bin for Christmas as well, or are they? I was maybe a little bit too antsy because Johan Klein's still quite a bit behind, about half a second behind. He needs maybe another mistake from Christmas, or is the momentum going to be alone to allow him to snipe the Lithuanian? The answer is going to be a hard no on this one, with Christmas still sitting in at a 51.9, but my word, was that touch so risky to see at the edge of that exit of the grass part at the end of the second sector, heading into the third. That might have been given borderline a heart attack to Christmas, if not his fellow supporters as well, as we're going to be heading to Whiskey's Melohi. And I don't know, but he's going to be there to face the music, Christmas, in a sense, because he has to right the wrongs of the first rotation, and he knows he might only have one shot or maybe even 2 shots at most if Cervantes is able to make the play stick.
Yeah, now hopefully Christmas doesn't pull Kratos when he just hits the first thing imaginable and then gives away the victory to his opponent. So let's hope that the Lithuanians have learned from the mistake of Kratos and not hitting the first imaginable thing that there is found on the road. But in the meantime, it is all eyes on Christmas and Johan Klan, and technically also Cervantes. If Christmas and Johan Klan have an absolute meltdown in the first round, Cervantes only needs 1 round to get into a finalist mode, and we could see our first triple finalist in this bracket as well. That would be absolutely insane to witness as well. The other match is also cooking as well, I see from the comments of Kem as well. So this is absolutely full-blown insanity that is ensuing. So all eyes on the Lithuanians, and can Johan Klan get his show on the road and get it done now?
All right, here we go then. The first of 2 potential rounds here on Melohi. Currently, Cervantes sitting on 160, does not get the best start of them all, so he will get already set back around 3/10 down. And Johan also not having the best landing into the grass, so already a head start for Christmas. But can he capitalize on that? And Johan Klan full stop picks in the transfer jump, forced to respawn. Cervantes up to 2nd place. Now it's going to be all eyes on Christmas. We do see Cervantes looking very slow through the end of the first sector right now, as we're going to be going through the perspective of Christmas. This is his round to lose. 1 shot, 1 opportunity at this point, as Johan Klan retires instantly, knowing that it's probably all said and done at this point for this round, but he might come to regret it, because right now we do see that Christmas is still in with a very solid round. No mistakes to be done. No, that mistake that could have saved Johan Klan's life did not come through. And ladies and gentlemen, one more Lithuanian in the books. No! There is no way that just happened. Cervantes takes the 10-pointer. I have just probably ruined a man's tournament right there. I can't believe that. And thus, for one last spot in Vilnius, triple finalists, 2 Lithuanian players versus 1 Danish player.
Ain't no way. How do you miss the most finalist hurdle? That will go down as probably the most horrible. If he does not now get it, that will go down as the most horrible thing to lose. Will that mistake by Christmas haunt Lithuania for the rest of their lives? Johan Kahn now makes the start. Cervantes is completely out of it, so it is Johan Kahn versus Cervantes. My camera has died as well as I reboot it up as well in a quick plot of a second. Everything is going haywire. Christmas and Johan Kahn are neck and neck into this race.
Watch out for the final
better line
corners.
and more speed. Johan Kahn does keep the gears, so this comes down to the finals of who has the bigger balls, who will go for the lower jump. Johan Kahn has the better line. He might be able to gather more speed. This will come down to the final jump.
Oh my
Christmas
goodness!
has the lower speed is the pole, and Lithuania is in the mud as Johan Kahn gets the victory after such an incredible battle. He gets his ticket done, and I feel the worst for Christmas. He was so close. He was so close, but he just could not get it. Great race in the end, though. Absolutely insanity.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. I have decided to leave completely. This is the last you see of me. I'm done. See ya. I can't believe I was there to call it home. I was there to call it home, and in the end, it just completely ruined this man's tournament. Man, I'm of course I'm kind of joking about this, but it's so painful for especially for Christmas. He was in with a very, very solid shot. Yeah, I'm getting my flights canceled. So see ya. You're gonna get a three-man stack for the caster.
Lithuanian mafia will be waiting for you at the airport.
I'm gonna get my kneecaps ripped off. Am I? But this is so unfortunate. Oh man. Yeah,
maybe
want to put on that French moustache and maybe a bit of a heavier accent, you know.
I'm getting a roaming ban for 3 years. This is done. It's over. We're done. But yeah, all jokes aside, of course, that was such a huge battle between. I thought Christmas was maybe a little bit more in the mud than he was eventually, because after that first pass through Melohi, I thought, this is going to be looking a little bit shaky, especially if he does end up again on that. But towards that second half of the match, he was basically just managing to play consistently and get those big points racked off. So maybe there was a chance, and there was that chance. Unfortunately, just that one moment on the penultimate round, too low of a jump, not high enough to even warranty an Evon-style finish trigger. Bring the bucket. We've got water bodies and concrete. Okay, yeah, I'm getting buried alive. This is what's happening according to Marcelli. But yeah, in terms of the other result, the other match also finished as well. Yeah, and if we take a look at the result, it is going to be Rotrex managing to bag his first finalist status with first place, and Mareintje coming home in second with that second place, of course, and Henkan, who double-dipped by taking part in both the W Easter League and the Qualifier, came home in third, so does not manage to come away in Vilnius, managed to rack 90 points along the way, so still some pretty respectable score after essentially double-dipping over the course of the entire day. So respect to you, Henkan, and hopefully I get to see you on LAN Sunday, you mad lad. But yeah, with that absolute bombshell of an ending, there is no other word to say, absolute bombshell of an ending, it is also the end of the Qualifier. We know our 32 players that are going to be joining us in Vilnius, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting excited. I can't wait until I board that plane to Vilnius from Charles de Gaulle.
Honestly, I'm excited for it as well. This will be my first international LAN for Trackmania as well. I've done an Estonian LAN as well, but this will be my first time ever going to an international LAN as well. So that book right over there that I showed before, that is waiting everybody's signature. I will be getting that book with me, and I will be gathering everybody. So everybody will have a page for themselves. So practice your signatures, practice your funny memes you want to maybe draw or put on your separate page.
Yeah.
I have also another one of these books. I have two of these actually, because
yeah, probably
this one was just a notebook for the event. That is the notebook for the autograph. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm absolutely excited for it, and honestly, I just want to be there already.
Yeah,
I want to already see them drive. I want to see the drama. I want to see the roller coaster rides, and I want to see all of those great people that I've been watching for close to a decade now. So yeah, I'm just happy to witness all of that excitement.
If I can also bring in a little bit of a personal note as well, this is kind of reigniting the energy that I've been missing maybe in the last few days and weeks. I've been feeling pretty down the doldrums over the course of the last few weeks, which kind of prompted me to postpone the cast from the April Monthly Cup, for instance, and seeing that kind of energy in those kind of matches is really kind of giving me the kicker back, and I'm very, very excited to be on site in Vilnius. First time in Lithuania, first time getting past Germany, I guess, gotta say, in terms of European countries I've been to. And yeah, looking forward to meet you for the first time. We've been colleagues over the course of a couple of occasions, including today, and it will be nice to actually see each other in the flesh and actually share the booth together. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be real fun.
Yeah, honestly, and all of you people who have tuned in as well to watch this offline qualifier, hopefully you have the opportunity to make it to the event as well, and you know, and also a bit of information as well, because Kem almost forgot to mention, all the players who didn't qualify for the event will get the ability to attend the Comic-Con Baltics for free. So even if you did not get the ticket, you at least will be able to attend the event, and well, maybe with a heart sunken that you could have been on the stage playing, but you know, reach out to Kem, go jump into his DMs to get that sorted out as well. So it was not all in vain. Even participating
Absolutely not.
gave you the opportunity to join in and maybe meet us on the stage or around the event, and so that's what I will be looking for. And Kem almost forgot that very crucial information, but at least we got it out there.
Yeah, at least we got it out. At least we got it out. That's actually fine. So yeah, thank you very much, of course, for joining us over the course of the 2 days of competition that we had here in the Open Qualifier. On behalf of myself, Katie, Turbo, and SRK, we will of course see you in Vilnius over the course of the tournament on May 25th and 26th at the Lit Expo Congress Center in Vilnius. And yeah, if you want to follow us, of course, follow us on our social media at TeamGeek, at Katie, at SRK_double_LV, and at LuckersTurbo on Twitter if you guys are on Twitter. And of course, stick around for more news. And of course, you can follow us on our various different guises and adventures, including one that will be coming very soon for both myself and Turbo, because I don't know if you heard something, but apparently we're racing in Germany at one point. Not well, we'll be commentating a race happening that's happening in virtual Germany. Not we won't be going to Germany per se, but yeah, in case you haven't seen it, it's going to be the return of the Formula E Championship, with the next set of races in the Berlin Tempelhof Recreation Circuit. This is going to be fun, a circuit that's been redesigned as well. But yeah, for us on Comic-Con Baltics, 32 players, a lot of French people, so I guess the upshot is I'm not going to be homesick whenever I'm in Vilnius, so that's great. There are going to be, of course, the people from that have been invited, from Big, Elcon, the previous winner, as well as Tween, who continues to go on his round trip of the lands and trying to get himself some World Tour points back on the board after missing the April Cup. But yeah, looking forward to see all that. I hope you guys are looking forward to see that. And do you have any final words you want to say, Katie? The floor is yours.
All I will say is, be there or be square, or get Lithuanian Mafia to get your kneecaps. We'll see you all soon enough in the offline event at the Comic-Con Baltics. For those who haven't gotten their tickets, make sure you do. There's so many events and so many things to happen, and I'm all for it as well. And hopefully all of you will be having a great time as well. For all of you who participated, thank you for joining. For all of those who qualified, well done. And for the rest of us, well, we have a bit of time to wait until we meet at the Comic-Con Baltics. So hopefully you had a great time. That is it from me and Geek. Have a great weekend. Sunday still looms, and for F1 fans, we still have a race in the middle of the night. So
yeah,
maybe you have to stay up too late.
Yeah, and
so, bye-bye everybody.
The strat for the F1 race: don't lie down when you watch the race, otherwise you're going to be sure to pass out. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this the Open Qualifier. Much love, be kind, stay safe, and see you in Vilnius in 3 weeks. Godspeed, people.